Sunday. I hope you've been having a lovely weekend. We are back for another live stream. I totally love doing the live streams, and I'm so excited that when I did my Disneyland live stream, people were saying, let's do more of them. So we are here, and I'm going to start theming them. So this one today is themed all around planning hurdles when planning a Disney trip and how to overcome them. I have my little camera set up, and then I have my laptop so I can read the comments because the camera's quite far away from me and my eyesight, too old, can't be looking that far away. I've also had lots of questions come in, loads of great questions with your own planning hurdles, so we will definitely be covering them. Hi Gareth, how are you doing? It's good to hear from you. And hi Randy, it's so exciting you're here. By the way, my cat is manning the light at the moment, so at any moment she could appear, there could be noises. She's got like a treat puzzle next door, so if you hear like, what is that? It's definitely the cat. Oh, it's so nice to see you, Randy. I'm so sorry you have to go in, big time difference, but it's lovely to see you. Hi Victoria! I also want to say a big thank you to Randy for joining the membership. It is so exciting and it's so lovely to have you here and see you in the chat and have all little emojis you can use. Oh, Aidan is also here. This is very exciting. It's very nice that there's lots of people turning up. Hi Peter! But yes, I absolutely love doing these. I think it's so much fun to be able to chat in real time, which is so exciting, especially with people who love Disney, and we can just chat about all the things we like, the tips we want to know, the tips we have that we can pass on to each other. So very much excited for this. Oh my gosh, a £25 cat sounds ideal. I absolutely love it. My dream in life, I really want to hold a Maine Coon cat. They're so big and I just can't comprehend the size of them, and I really want to hold one. Hi Leslie, all the way from Kentucky. That is very exciting. Weather woes is such a big part of any trip, and you are so right. I think especially with California, people assume year-round amazing weather, which isn't always the case, and then it's like, what do you pack? What do you take with you? I'm like a Swiss Army packer. I'm like, take a little bit of everything and then we'll be prepared. But of course, that's not always possible with luggage allowances. But that is actually one of the topics we're going to talk about, is how to pack for the weather and how to plan, because you know, you can get a general sense of the weather when you're doing a Disney trip, but you never quite know. But yeah, I hope you're all having a lovely Sunday. It's my Veganuary. I don't know if that's a word, but we've made it up. It's my Veganuary anniversary today. So no, veganiversary. Veganiversary? That's too hard to say. It's my vegan anniversary. So we went and had a little nice meal out. But that actually does bring me on to kind of the first topic, because the thing that gets the most questions, and I actually think is probably the biggest planning hurdle for Disney, is dining. It is a minefield. There are so many restaurants to choose from, so many different types of restaurant. What do you budget for? And most importantly, how do you get the dining reservations? It's the most stressful part. I know everyone is there ready on their 60-day mark, fingers ready, we're going for it. So we're going to cover that, because I think that's the biggest hurdle when planning your trip, is working out where you want to dine, where to fit into an itinerary, and how to get those reservations. Hi Lisa! It's so exciting to see you here. And yeah, Leslie, you're so right. Florida knows how to handle the rain, like they are used to it. It's amazing how efficient it is. Even when I was there during a hurricane, I could not believe how quick everything was cleaned up. Like, it was unreal. And like you say, they're just efficient, they know what they're doing. And yeah, it's not always the case everywhere, but Florida knows how to sort it when it comes to the weather. But I'm going to start with some of the questions that we had. Yes, you're 100% Randy. Like, the hurricane stuff, I could not recommend. Like, everywhere, I was actually at Universal at the time, and everywhere was so keyed into how to get everything safe, how to prepare people, what to do, and I was blown away. It sounds a weird thing to say, it was an amazing experience, but the staff, like, everyone were incredible. So yeah, that's one thing I think people do worry about, what time of year should I book, especially because Orlando, you do have a 6-month period where there are possibility of hurricanes. So I don't think it's something you can really worry about, because you never know. It could happen. It most likely won't. It's very unusual for Orlando itself to have a hurricane because it is inland. But the good thing is they are so prepared that it will not be a problem, which is great news. Oh, Victoria has a good question. Let's see. So a question about Disneyland and Disney Sea in Japan. So yes, there aren't many vegan options there, which is super disappointing. And this is the one reason I've been putting off going there. I am desperate to go. Everyone I know that's been has said it's like one of the best Disney parks in the world. It looks incredible. Disney Sea looks so unique and incredible. And the hotels look next level. Everything seems incredible. But it's just the food that's putting me off. And because it's quite far out of central Tokyo, it wouldn't really be viable to keep going into Tokyo to eat each day. So I'm like, you have to take a lot of food with you and kind of survive off of pot noodles and things like that, or starve. I suppose that's the other option. There's really nothing there to eat. I think there might be one curry that can be made vegan, and that's it, which is such a shame because it looks incredible. Yes, Gareth. So yes, hurricanes. I think, like you said, that's something that does concern a lot of people, particularly when it's like August, September, October time, which is like peak season, and especially if you're going solo, because it's like, what do you do? But I have to say, I could not have been more impressed with the hotels. And I know some people that were in Disney at the time as well. And Disney also have next level service. They were really great with keeping people up to date. And it was honestly like, you wouldn't have really noticed there was something going on. Everyone was still carrying on with their jobs. I could not get over how the staff will stay and live in the hotel so that the guests can be taken care of. Like, it's unbelievable. And it's really nothing to worry about. It's one of those things that you always fear is going to happen. And having gone through it, I was like so impressed. And the one, when I was there, it was like they were like, this never happens. It was like a 1 in 100 year event, because as I say, normally hurricanes go up the coast. So in Orlando, being in central Florida, you might get some strong winds and rain, but the parks don't tend to close. And if they do, it might be for an evening or one day. So it was very, very unusual when I was there that it was kind of a 2.5 day thing. But yeah, they were amazing. The people were so good. 100%, Lisa. We are manifesting that this September, no hurricanes. And I'm also very excited to hear that a lot of people are going in September, because I am also going in September. And I keep speaking to people when everyone's going in September. So I'm hoping we will all be there at the same time and our paths will cross. But because it would be incredible to meet face to face, in person, in Disney as well, which will be amazing. And yes, Victoria, I'm really, really hoping that maybe because the other parks are getting so good with plant-based options, and we're seeing more people around the world adopt a vegan or plant-based lifestyle, or even flexitarian, that they may start introducing more vegan options into the Asian parks. I have a friend who's from Asia, and she was saying it's interesting because especially if you go to like Shanghai or something, because in China, some of like the Buddhist monks and stuff like that, or for some people for religious reasons in certain months of the year, will kind of have a plant-based diet, not intentionally, but because of their beliefs. So she was like, so it should be something they should be able to incorporate, because it's not a completely foreign concept. So fingers crossed, that would be amazing. I was just about to say Wagamama's do loads of vegan options, as if Wagamama's is a true representation of Japan. But if they could open a Wagamama's, that would be like my ultimate mashup. Although I'm pretty sure, you know, by Japanese standards, Wagamama's is terrible, but by my standards, it's the best thing ever. So it's amazing. But whilst we were talking about dining, I think we should get into some of the hurdles for Disney. And I've had lots of questions about this, and they've all been really, really good. Most of them are about ADRs, the advanced dining reservations. And as I said, I think this is something that stresses everyone out. Even though I'm so used to doing it, I still have that like adrenaline, like, okay, we've got to go, we've got to get ready. It's like race day. Like fastest finger on the button, we've got to go. And I've been very, very lucky. I've always managed to get all of the dining reservations I want. And afterwards, I'm always like, oh, that's nowhere near as stressful as I expected it to be. But I thought I would talk about it in chunks, from like easiest to hardest. And I would say the easiest place to get dining reservations for, depending on when you book would be Disneyland Paris, because if you stay in a Disneyland Paris hotel, you can actually book up to a year in advance. So pretty much as soon as you book your holiday, if it's within 12 months, you can book that dining, which is fantastic. So if you book at that time, you get lots and lots of variety. Downside, not all of the restaurants reservations go live at the same time. So if you don't see something then, don't panic. It could just be that it hasn't gone live. So just occasionally check in and you should be able to get dining reservations. The closer it gets to the trip, the harder it does get. And Disneyland Paris doesn't often have a lot of walk-ups. So I would say if there are specific restaurants that you want to go to, definitely try and book them as soon as possible. If you aren't staying in a Disneyland Paris hotel, it's supposed to be around 60 days before that you can book. It's not always 60 days. As I say, some of the restaurants will open on that date, others it will be closer. So you just kind of have to keep checking. But I think that's definitely the key. If you keep checking, people's plans change, they do cancel. And even whilst you're at Disney, you can sometimes find reservations whilst you're there because people that day have decided we're going to change our plans. So it's always worth checking. Yes, I'm loving that Wagamama Disney mashup is something we all want. We need to start a petition because it would be incredible. Oh my god, I love that Peter is multitasking. He's here, he's live, and watching BAFTAs, which is incredible. It'll be amazing. You'll have to let us know who's winning as we're going along. And yeah, it is like race day, isn't it? The stress you feel with the ADRs. Somewhere else that I found it not too difficult to get dining reservations was Disneyland. And the system is exactly the same as Disney World. The great thing is, with Disneyland, there's less table service restaurants, so you're not needing to book as many. Also, you can only book 60 days in advance. So if you're staying at a Disneyland hotel, if you can hear rustling, the cat is in a tunnel underneath the table, so I do apologise. She hasn't been in this tunnel for about 6 months, but she's like, tonight's the night. Let's make as much noise as possible. But the thing that I liked about Disneyland is, so as I was saying, if you stay at a Disneyland hotel, you don't get to book the full length of your stay like you do at Disney World. But because you are staying fewer days, it's much easier just to be able to book each day where you want to dine. And what I liked is that I found that the dining reservations didn't go immediately. So interestingly, when me and Peter were in Disneyland Paris in September was when my reservation dates opened up for Disneyland. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, because when you're having so much fun or you're on a ride or in a queue, I was like, there's no way at 11 o'clock I can be on my phone and going and getting reservations. So some of them I was booking like up to 6 hours later, and I was still able to get all of the dining reservations I wanted, even stuff like Lamplight Lounge and Blue Bayou, which are two of the hardest restaurants to get. So Disneyland felt a lot less stressful, and I have to say, in general, Disneyland needs a lot less planning and is a lot more laid back and chilled than Disney World. So it's definitely worth taking a trip there. If you've ever wanted to go, it is literally incredible. And yeah, it even came with the dining. It was much easier to get reservations. But I would say for those big ones like Blue Bayou, Lamplight Lounge, do try and get them on the day they are released, because I would say maybe within 12 or 24 hours they will go. And I actually found less people tended to give up their reservations, whereas at Disneyland Paris and Disney World I found you get more of that. So on the day you can kind of get reservations. Disneyland not so much, but Disneyland did have a lot more walk-ups available than I've experienced in other Disney parks. So never fear, there are always options, which is great to hear. That rhymed, oh my gosh. I get so excited, I'm like a little child. Yes, I'm so glad you got a last minute Space 220 reservation. I love the lounge. I actually think the lounge is a better pick than the restaurant, just because there's much more flexibility. And when I was there, my server told me that you can actually order anything off of the main menu as well as like the lounge menu, which is great news. So if you don't want a set meal, the 2 or 3 courses, or you just want it to be a bit more relaxed, definitely try the lounge. And it's literally in the same location, so you get the same experience, and it is definitely worth it. Even if you just book the lounge for a drink, Space 220 is incredible. So I'm so excited you're getting to go. And yeah, it's so lucky, isn't it, when you're like somewhere that you really wanted to go to, you manage to get a last minute reservation for, and it's like, luck is on my side. It's so fun. Oh, it's so interesting, Leslie, that you didn't find mobile ordering as convenient as the Orlando parks. I kind of found it quite similar, which is interesting. but I suppose it might depend on the time of year you're there, or how many people are mobile ordering at that time. And that's something I also love. Like, I would highly recommend mobile ordering in all the Disney parks, because some of those quick service queues are so long. As me and Peter found out, we went to Casa de Coco not long after it reopened, and we waited like 45 minutes, which was so long. So next time, I think when we're there, we're actually going back in March, I'm sure we'll try out mobile ordering just to save ourselves some time. There's quite a few mobile ordering restaurants in Disneyland Paris now, and there are loads in Disneyland and Disney World, and it just gives you more time in your day. And I like that you kind of have quite a big window, so you kind of have a sense of where you're going to be in the park, so you can kind of plan your dining around that. So yeah, I absolutely love mobile ordering because it will save you so much time. Yes, this is a big problem of knowing what ADRs to book, because most people don't know 60 days in advance what they want to eat, which is so true. And I think I'm quite lucky because I kind of have like a wish list of these are all the places I would like to try. So I just kind of go with that. But people who are just like normal people, it's not normal to be able to plan what food you want. I used to, when it was back in the day when it was 180 days in advance, I knew what I was eating. But that is not regular, so it is so hard to know on that day, am I going to be feeling in the mood for that dish? So I do think that's difficult. I think the good thing with quick service options is you don't need that. You can just choose on the day, and it could be that you maybe just see what ADRs are available, because as we say, lots of people cancel, so ones do pop up if you really don't like planning in advance. But the other good thing is you can always plan in advance, and then if you're really not feeling it, you can cancel your reservations, and as long as it is over 2 hours before your dining time, you won't get charged. So I always think it's better to plan what you're going to have, and then you can modify or cancel, than wait to the last minute and then not be able to get what you want. So yeah, that could be a good way to get around that. Oh, but it's so exciting. It's so lovely, Randy, to hear that. And it's such a lovely compliment. And you are a Disney expert yourself, so it's so lovely to hear from you and get to chat and swap tips, which is so fun. Yes, Peter, I'm very excited for our trip. I think it's 23 days now, which is very exciting. And yeah, we can't wait to be back. It's going to be so good. So Randy's got a good question. When you mobile order and you go to pick it up, do you feel like people who don't know about mobile ordering are giving you the stink eye? It does kind of feel like a VIP lane, as in like, you know, you're like, it's like when you're in a lightning lane and you're just like bypassing everyone, being like, but I'm going to go get my food first. And I think it's one of those things that if you have a little bit of knowledge on how Disney works, or the ways to get the best out of Disney, it makes your experience so much better. And then I do feel bad for people that haven't been able to get access to the resources and they just don't know. And then they're just spending so much time in queues, and no one wants to be doing that on their holiday, not at Disney at all. So it definitely does feel like you're like in a great position. You're just like wandering past everyone being like, I'm just speedily picking up my food, which is so nice. Hi! Oh, it's so exciting. You are 100% right. Mobile ordering is definitely the way to go with quick service, because you could be in those queues for so long. And I especially find it in Disneyland Paris because the queue system seems to be quite slow. I don't know how, but it just seems to be very slow. So mobile ordering is the way forward. And the good thing is, some restaurants, say in Disney World, Woody's Lunchbox, that will book up many hours in advance. So what I tend to do is, if I know I'm going to eat there early in the day, I'll book a time slot for much later in the day. Because we tried it before where probably about 3 o'clock we were like, let's try and mobile order for dinner, and it wasn't until like 8-9 o'clock and we were like, oh no. So we just went there and we waited in the queue, and we probably waited half an hour. So for the restaurants that do get popular, book a little bit early in the day. But a lot of them you can book, if you know in about an hour's time you might want to eat, you can easily book a time slot for then, and it will be super quick and easy, which is amazing. Oh, Victoria, which 3 restaurants do you have? I'm very excited that you're going to Captain Jack's. The fruit soup, I love that gives you no clue whatsoever as to what you're eating. Every time I've gone, I've been like, what could this be? And I very much like it. It's very refreshing as a dessert, which is very, very nice. And Captain Jack's setting is incredible. And the giant cookie at Walt's is an amazing dessert. It's so good. And it's literally like the size of a plate. It's unreal. And Walt's is really cute inside. And if you're by a window and you happen to be there when there's a parade going on, you see the floats go past, which is amazing. It's just so cool. So I hope you have the best time. Oh, this is a great question, Randy. So coming from the UK, can you purchase Genie Plus before your vacation? So for Disneyland, you can. So you can buy it for the length of your stay and attach it to your tickets, which is perfect. It was what I did. It was amazing. I found it so handy. And I also loved that when you buy it for Disneyland, you get photo pass included. So for me, it was $25 a day for Genie Plus and photo pass, which I thought was amazing. For Disney World, when they first launched Genie Plus, for UK guests, they had an incredible offer. So you could add Genie Plus onto your reservation. It had to be for the length of your stay, but it was just £6.99 a day. It was unreal how cheap it was. But there was a lot of glitches they were finding with the system, so they've scrapped it. So now you can't purchase it in advance, you have to just purchase it on the day. And of course, as we all know, sometimes it's up to $35 a day now, so it's much, much different. But I do think the good thing for UK guests is because you're visiting Disney World typically for a longer period of time, maybe 8, 10, 14 days, you don't always need Genie Plus every day because you've got a longer period of time to explore everything. So I kind of like to get to the park, see what it's like, how busy it is, and then decide maybe later in the trip we might buy Genie Plus for this day or this day and play it by ear, which is really, really handy. But I do actually really like Genie Plus. I know like when it first launched, everyone was like, this is not fun because we're now paying for something that used to be free. But it's always really, really helped me during my trips. I've got so much more done because of it and waited so much fewer. And particularly for plantar fasciitis, it has been amazing. For Disneyland and Disneyland Paris, I did not need the DAS pass. I just used, I didn't use Genie Plus in Disneyland Paris because they don't have that. But for Disneyland, I just used Genie Plus and it saved me so much time queuing. So it was perfect for my foot as well. So absolutely very much enjoy it. I've heard such good things about these raspberry pastries at Woody's Lunchbox, so I'm so glad to hear that they live up to the hype. And yeah, people need to go and try these. They're kind of like Pop-Tarts, right? They look like Pop-Tarts, which sounds amazing. Yes, Lisa, I'm so glad to hear that. I think getting the ADRs when you can and then adjusting them closer to your trip is perfect, because then that way you know you're definitely not going to miss out. But if you just don't feel like it, you can cancel. And I think that's also why a lot of reservations open up just before the people's trips, because they do change their plans, or even on the day. So it's so, and they only recently changed it to cancelling 2 hours before your reservation. It used to be 24 hours in advance, but I think now it's much easier to get on-day reservations because a lot of people can change their reservations, 4 or 5 hours ahead, which is perfect. So hi Christina, this is a great question about PhotoPass at Disneyland Paris and how to use it and where best to use it. So I think the best place to use the PhotoPass at Disneyland Paris is for the characters, because this is where you're going to find the most amount of photographers are with the characters, and you can get some really, really great shots. You also get all your ride photos, which is perfect. And you need the ride photos. Everyone needs to see the experience. Everyone needs the reaction, which is perfect. There's not so many PhotoPass photographers dotted around the park taking photos in random spots, but definitely keep your eyes peeled because they will just kind of appear. And that can be when you get your just shots of the general park with you in it. But the way you're going to utilize it the best is getting loads of character photographs, because they are amazing. They're so cute. And if you've paid for it, you might as well get as many as you can. Oh, Gareth, what an amazing idea to have your 40th birthday in Disneyland Paris. That is Credible, and you're doing all of the character dining. That is such a birthday move. I absolutely love that. Getting to do all of them in one trip will be amazing. And I'm 100% on board that no one is ever too old to do character dinings, to meet characters, to get autographs, get photographs. Never. Like, Disney is there for literally everyone. And I think this is the thing. Like, people always talked about the parks being for everyone, and also for the kid inside people. And I think kind of one of the main things he was discussing isn't just like the playful side of children and keeping that alive as adults, but it's also, and this is what I think is so important for adults, is kids believe anything is possible. When they say they want to be an astronaut, they don't ever think that there's a hurdle to that it might not be possible. They are sure they're going to become an astronaut. And Walt Disney, I think, kept that mindset. It was never, ever not an option, or there was no thought in his mind that he would never be an animator, creating his own studio, creating theme parks. Like, we just got to make it happen. And the path might be winding to get there, but we'll make it happen. And I think that's such a spirit of Disney, of that everyone can come here and be inclusive, do everything they like, everything they enjoy, and just have that amazing experience and that inclusiveness, that optimism. And I think that I genuinely think Disney's more like, adults get more benefit out of Disney than kids. I think kids have an amazing time, but also it's a lot of queuing. Depending on where you visit, the weather can be quite intense, there can be jet lag. It's a lot for kids. But with adults, when you go and everything's joyful and everything's exciting, and you don't hear about anything going on in the world and the stresses and all of the, really, really awful things happening, you don't hear any of that, and it's just optimism and inspiration. And I genuinely think adults benefit so much from visiting Disney. That's a complete tangent, but I think you should go and live your best life on your 40th birthday and do all of the character things. And doing all the character dining in one trip is amazing. I would love to hear your experience of Royal Banquet as well, because as we all know, that is the brand new buffet, the character dining buffet at the Disneyland Hotel. It is very expensive. It's €100 per person, so it's the most expensive Disney buffet in the world. But I would love to hear what you think of the experience, the characters, the food. So yeah, we need to know all the details. Oh, this is a great question from Lisa, asking has anyone done the plant-based menu at Takumi Tay? And that would be such an amazing birthday meal, I think. It's literally incredible. I've seen the menu and it looks so nice. Something that I love to do is, some of my favourite vloggers for vegan food in Disney World are Princess and the Bear, and they have done a review of Takumi Tay. So I would definitely go and check that out if you fancy it. You can kind of see what I like about Princess and the Bear is it's great for people who travel in groups with mixed dietary needs, because Princess is vegan and the Bear isn't. So you get a perspective from both types of diners, and they kind of let you know what they both think. He also tries the vegan food, so he gives options and opinions about the plant-based food for people that aren't plant-based. And I just love their reviews, and I remember they liked it. So I think that could be an incredible birthday meal. Like, what a treat. It looks incredible. Yes, Leslie, Genie Plus made doing 2 parks in one day possible in Orlando and Anaheim. And I 100% agree about PhotoPass being included at Disneyland but not making the most of it. And I totally agree. In Disney World, I get so many PhotoPass photos. And in the UK, we're very lucky. If you buy UK tickets, you do get PhotoPass included. And I had, when I went in 2022, I had nearly 400 photos, which is insane in 2 weeks. But it was brilliant. Disneyland, I got hardly any, and it was just because I found it much easier to spot PhotoPass photographers in Disney World. And something I did get a lot of in Disneyland were character photos. And I liked that because the characters were out roaming about, the queues to meet them were quite short, but I definitely underutilised it. So like you say, it's a great benefit to Genie Plus in Disneyland, but I should have used it more. But you're 100% right. You can fit so much more into your day. Oh, the cat's arrived. This is Coco. And yeah, it just adds so much extra time. You're not standing around just killing time in a queue. You're getting on more, and absolutely love it. So yeah, it's one of those things that it's annoying that you have to pay for it, but I do think it really can benefit you as a trip. Yes, Randy, I do think as an adult, you're 100% right. Like, you appreciate the level of detail and the beauty of the parks more. And I definitely know when I was younger, I was just about rides. Just rush to the ride. Wasn't really bothered about taking everything in. And now as an adult, I'm like, I want to see all of the little details. I want to see all the shows. I want to do the whole Disney experience. And it's nice to kind of slow down and take that in. Or just like sitting in the hub and you can see the castle and what everyone's doing is amazing. Let's have a look. Ooh, it's interesting that you've mentioned the vegan food at Roundup Rodeo Barbecue and you thought it was just okay, and it's a lot of food. I've had a lot of people talk about the portion sizes are absolutely massive, and it's one of the restaurants that I wanted to try on my next trip because the theming looks really cute, and of course it is a new restaurant. And I have heard similar things, that people are kind of like the food's hit or miss. Like, some people really enjoy it and a lot of people think it's just okay, it's fine, but you're paying more for kind of the theming and the Toy Story experience. So it will be interesting to see what that's like. And I know food waste was something that really worried me, and a few years ago I wrote an article all about how environmentally friendly is Disney World. And one of the things I discovered is that Disney World have this unique innovative system where they take food waste and they put it in this machine, I don't know what it's called because it had a very fancy technical name, and basically it converts food waste into energy and helps power the parks, which I thought was incredible. To think, like, if there is some food waste that's going to power Space Mountain, that's amazing. And I just think that's a really, really great way to kind of make sure that there is no waste happening. So I definitely felt better after that. But I'm glad to hear, Lisa, Roundup Rodeo Barbecue is on your list as well. It definitely looks fun. Like, when everyone stops, that looks amazing. I can't wait for it. And Christina, this is a great question about character meetings in Disneyland Paris. So the Princess Pavilion is a great option. I would say the downside is the queue is often over 2 hours long and you don't get to decide which princess you meet. What typically happens is there's actually 2 different rooms. In one room, a princess is speaking English, and in the other room, the princess is speaking French. So when you get to the front, they will ask you which language you speak, and then they'll just direct you to that princess. You don't really have a say over who you meet. And during that 2 hour period, they might also switch over. So you might see, like, you're going to meet Cinderella, but by the time you get there, it's Snow White or something like that. I would say if you want to meet a lot of princesses, what I really enjoyed was Princess Character Dining at Auberge de Cendrillon. There you get to meet 4 princesses. They normally also have 2 mice as well, from, which is so cute, from Cinderella. It's a 3-course kind of fine dining menu. It is very pricey. It's €90. But the fact that you get to meet so many princesses all in one go, and it's also really, really nice food, amazing setting, it can definitely be worth it if you want to meet the princesses and save you that 2 hour queue for Princess Pavilion, because that is intense. That is a lot. I think they need to have more princess meeting places because it's clearly very, very popular, and I think if they had more places it would even out the crowds and people wouldn't have to queue as long. But yeah, it was just like, that's such a shame. But also now, if you go to, well, you can't, if you are staying at the Disneyland Hotel, you have the new character dining mill, and there you meet princesses and princes together at the same time. So that's also good, but you do have to be a resident of the Disneyland Hotel to go to that. So that's the only caveat. Oh my God. Sorry, sorry, I just screamed like there was a murderer in the house. I do apologise for the loudness. That was unbelievable. The cat jumped from the table onto the chair. The camera fell down. I screamed like I was being murdered. I do apologise. Oh dear. But yes, Randy, that's such a good point. If you're going to any sort of meals that are served kind of family style, going with other people I think will really help. Because this is the thing, my next trip is a solo trip. So I am kind of worried, like, with something like with Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, that's going to be way too much for one person. And I think because they're pre-portioned, you will automatically just be given that plate. So I may have to try and see. I know a lot of people are out there at the same time. So if anyone fancies doing a Roundup Rodeo Barbecue meetup, we should definitely plan that, because that would be amazing. let's have a little look. There's so many great questions, and thank you so much for asking, because it's really, really helpful to know what concerns people have. And I also think it's stuff we all kind of have a lot in common. These are definitely questions I've asked over the years, and it's great to kind of see that everyone does think the same sort of way and face the same sort of challenges. So it's really helpful that we can all swap tips and help each other out, which is really nice. Okay, Leslie's asked, with the threat of inclement weather or on the days they've closed early, we've learnt that they often pull characters in Disneyland. Oh, that's very interesting. I suppose that makes sense, but it's a shame, because the thing that's great about Disneyland is there's so many characters everywhere. So when they just kind of go, oh, we've got to pull them away, you're like, oh, where are they? But yes, I'm glad to hear that you didn't also see the photographers very much. And I know in Disney World, they recently changed their costume, so it's very bright, it stands out, you can't miss the photographers. But I didn't see as many in Disneyland. And I was like, am I just missing them and not paying attention? But I'm glad to hear that other people also find the same thing. So yeah, there does seem to be fewer there. And yes, you're so right, Randy. I'm glad your server also mentioned that they kind of use this machine to turn food into energy, which I think is really amazing. It's super innovative. I think they said that they were kind of one of the first companies to do this. I also know the cooking oil they use to run the transportation at Disney World, which I think is amazing. And of course they have those massive, I don't know if you've ever seen the photographs, the massive kind of solar panels that are in Mickey shaped heads, which is amazing. So they're doing quite a lot for conservation, which is amazing. And yes, the technology, they're already using this technology, which is fantastic. And I think it's just amazing to know that food waste is kind of powering the parks. I think they should kind of make a bigger deal of that, because I think people would be really impressed. And I think it definitely would make people feel not as bad, because the portions can be very, very generous, particularly, as you say, if you do anything family style dining or platters, things like that, it is so filling. So you do kind of think, oh, I don't want to waste food, but it's good to know, actually, we're powering Space Mountain. So everyone can thank me. You should give high fives to everyone for kind of powering the parks, which is amazing. Hi guys, so lovely to see you. Welcome. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. And oh yes, this is a great question. Hello, and I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. And what are the quietest times of year to visit? And I think this is a great question. I think something everyone looks up. And I would say the least busy times of year, there's really no quiet times anymore. Disney parks tend to be busy all year round. And I would say last year was the first year that a lot of the parks seemed to be back to pre-COVID levels. Like Disneyland Paris, the difference between visiting in 2021 to all the way up till last year, it was so much quieter. And last year there was a massive explosion of people coming back. So I do think the parks are now back to kind of running before pre-COVID time, so it can be busy all year round. But I would say, as a rule of thumb, if you are kind of visiting in November to February time, but avoiding school holidays and obviously Christmas and New Year, that tends to be the quietest times of year. People are kind of thinking more like visiting Disney when it is sunny and warmer. So they kind of avoid these months, but they can be great for getting good deals and obviously not queuing as long, because there's not many people there, which is fantastic. And that's when I tend to visit. The one exception I would say is Disney World. I always tend to visit in September, because that's a very good month to visit for Disney World. The US schools go back mid-August. By the beginning of September, European schools have gone back. So because kids have just gone back after such a long break, typically parents aren't taking them out of school again. So you have much quieter visits in September, and I absolutely love it. The weather is very hot, but I think it's worth it for the much shorter queue times. But I would say typically, if you're looking at going in the off season, I don't think there really is an off season, but November to February is a good point, but just avoid those holidays. And I would say that no matter what time you're visiting, before booking, check out if there are school holidays or public holidays, because they will make it a bit busier. So if you can avoid them, that is perfect. Ooh. Oh, I'm so glad, Guy, to hear that your friend at the moment is currently in the Disneyland Hotel in Paris, and they are loving it, thinking it's amazing. it's very interesting. There's been very, very mixed reviews so far. I think everyone agrees it is really stunningly beautiful, but I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about the service on offer, and particularly disability access. A lot of people will be having trouble with that. So I'm hoping it's teething problems and those things. It's just, you know, it's just opened and it will improve. But yeah, it's been interesting to read the reviews, but I think all of the images and videos we've seen, it looks stunning. It's so beautiful, and I'm sure we've all been keeping up to date. There's been a lot of hoopla about, originally the hotel was only to be visited by guests of that hotel. They've now changed it so non-guests can visit. Originally, they kind of were letting people visit for a few hours a day, but you had to queue to get in. There was unbelievably long queues and it was causing problems. So now they've gone to a virtual queue system, which I actually think in the long run is much better. I think it's a good system because they know you can only let X amount of people in at a time. People don't have to be clogging up the outside queuing, and then it's causing problems because there's only one entrance, so non-guests and guests were trying to all go in at the same time and it was causing confusion. So I think the virtual queue is a really good option. But there's been lots of controversy about should non-guests be allowed to stay. And it'd be interesting to hear what you think, because no other Disney hotel in the world, as far as I'm aware, exclude other people from visiting. This was the only hotel that was doing that, and I always felt it was because it was having its grand reopening. There was a lot of press events, stuff like that. So I always thought it was going to be like a temporary measure because previously anyone could visit, so I thought they would go back to that. But I think the people that stayed the first couple of weeks and had it exclusive to them obviously really enjoyed that. What an amazing experience. And now people, because I think a lot of people then thought that would stay that way, are quite annoyed that, you know, other people can come in now. So it'd be interesting to hear what you think. Oh, this is a great tip. Toontown is a great place for photographers in Disneyland. And Toontown is literally incredible. What an amazing place. It is so wacky and wild, and there's so many great places to take photographs. So that is such a great place for photographers to be, because you can have amazing shots there. So definitely need to be going and looking for photographers next time, because I needed more photographs. I needed more professional photographs, and that seems like the place to go. Hi, Maritz! I'm so excited you are here. And it's very exciting. You're currently in the queue for Crush's Coaster. This is amazing. You're literally in Disney at the moment, and I hope you have an amazing time on Crush's Coaster. You are braver than me. I will pass out if I go on it. So I hope you have an amazing time. And it's so nice of you to drop in. And I hope you're having a great time in Disneyland Paris. How very exciting. You're there already, which is amazing. Oh, it's very interesting, Gareth, to hear that you did Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, and you did it solo and there was lots of food, but they also mentioned the food recycling. It's great actually to hear that the servers are telling people about this now, because I feel like it is a concern. It's something people often bring up, that they're worried about food waste. So it's really good that they're kind of promoting it, because I also think it's a really cool system. It's such a great plus and a feather in Disney's hat. So I definitely think they should be promoting it because it's amazing. Oh, Randy, I hope you get to go to Disneyland Paris one day. It will be so exciting if you get to experience the French park. And yeah, the Disneyland Hotel is amazing. But what I really like about Disneyland Paris is it's very similar to Disneyland in that everything is walkable, which is so fantastic. It just makes your trip so nice. And yes, the cooking oil. They use cooking oil to run the buses in Disney World, which is amazing that they kind of thought everything out and how can we kind of reduce the amount of waste but use it in a really great way. I think it's amazing. So yeah, they're really kind of very innovative actually. So I think they should be pushing it more. Even on the buses, they should have a little sign to say powered by cooking oil. Although I feel like I might have seen a bus that said that. But we'll have to see. I'll have to try and see if I can find a photograph, because they should definitely be promoting all these things, because especially now when we live in a world where people are much more conscious of their environmental impact. I think hearing these things, people feel much more comfortable knowing, oh, these things are going to a good use. Yes, we definitely, Lisa, we have to be doing this. We have to do a Roundup Rodeo Barbecue meetup. I think this is going to be amazing. We have to do it. It'll be so much fun, and the theming looks amazing. Have I imagined it, or are they giant pencils? Because I'm sure I've seen a giant pencil, or I've dreamt there's a giant pencil when you sign the check, and it literally looks amazing. It looks so much fun, and I just love that there's so many of us in Disney World this September, so I think this is going to be perfect. But yes, Lisa, we have to do this. We have to make a plan. Oh, this is a great question from David. Is California now your favourite park? I have to say Disneyland Park itself in California, I think now is my favourite. I was blown away. It's like all of the best parts of all of the parks in one. It was a great size. So you're not like, it's big, but it's still manageable. And also, there's so much packed in, like, especially Fantasyland. I could not get over how many rides and everything are packed in to Fantasyland. It's like double the amount of any other Disney park. And I couldn't get over it. And I love that it's really, really walkable. It's super, super stunning. And there's just so much history everywhere. And I love that there were also so many rides unique to Disneyland. And of course, you've still got opening day attractions as well. And I was just blown away. And I think the walkability makes it such a bonus. Like, one of the things I love about Disneyland Paris is it's just so easy to get everywhere. And Disney World, the great thing is it's like everything's big, everything's massive. There's so much to see and do. But of course, you do have to travel to those places. You can't walk anywhere. But the convenience of just being able to hop about, park hop, go to a hotel and have a little meal, have a look in downtown Disney was amazing. And yeah, I'm desperate to go back. I absolutely loved it. And I think DCA is great as well. It's got so many cool features. I also really liked that there was an Avengers campus and a Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland Resort. So you kind of had the full shebang all in one place, which was incredible. Hi, Sabrina! It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. And yes, so this is a great question from Lisa. Which is my favourite park? And I think as a destination, Disney World is still probably my favourite. I would say individual park is definitely Disneyland Park in California. It used to be Magic Kingdom, and I think it's been overtaken because I just was blown away. It's literally incredible, and I feel like I'm now on like a mission to kind of convert people, because I think a lot of people are really put off. I do think it is more difficult to book a California trip, just because if you go to the Disney travel website, they do packages from Europe to Disneyland Paris or Disney World, but they don't really do stuff for California, and we don't see it advertised, and it's a lot more challenging because people just don't know where to get the information from. You can do packages with people like Virgin. You can book your hotel flights as a package. I did it all DIY, and I actually kind of really liked that because you had complete flexibility. But I do actually think that is a big hurdle for California, is how do you book it? And a lot of people, what they tend to do will be a kind of multi-center trip. So they'll spend some days in LA and then some in Disneyland, or maybe they'll go to San Diego. A few years ago, I did Las Vegas, LA, and then Disneyland. So doing it as like a multi-center trip can be a really good option, and then you're seeing more things. Or you can do what I did and just go to Disney itself. I got a taxi from the airport straight to my hotel. The great thing about Anaheim is there are literally hundreds of hotels surrounding Disneyland. So you have so many options to choose from. And because of that, I liked the flexibility of booking for myself. I just did it DIY. I used Expedia for the hotel. I liked the map feature because you could actually see where the hotels were on a map in relation to Disney, so that you knew how close you were to the park, which is amazing. And then I used Skyscanner to check for the flights, and it compares all the different airlines so that you can see who has the best value seats at that time. And yeah, that's what I needed to book, was the hotel, the flights, and the transfer. So it wasn't actually complicated to do, but I think because it doesn't have the simplicity of going on a Disney website and booking a trip, that is a hurdle for people because they just don't know where to start. And I would say, again, if you're doing a trip where you want to incorporate maybe LA, again, booking yourself, you can use Expedia, book for Disneyland, book for LA, see the reviews, see the location, and then just get taxis or car hire between the two, and you're sorted. So it's a lot easier than you think it would be. So yeah, it's not too much of a hurdle, which is good. But yeah, Victoria, it's great to hear your thoughts on the Disneyland Hotel in Paris, and you think it should be exclusive to hotel guests because they're paying the price for that. And you'd love to have a look, but it does seem overpriced. And I have to agree, like I do, this is the thing I think is difficult. Where they kind of started off with the hotel being exclusive, people now have that in their mind and they've set a precedent. So to take that away kind of very quickly, I can understand why people are upset. I also do think no other hotel in the world operates like that, though. So, like, even say you went to the Ritz in London, anyone can enter. Anyone can go to the bar, anyone can go to the restaurants. They don't kind of keep out non-guests. So it's that difficult thing of, like, I think it was a big selling point because, like you say, the price is very, very expensive. So people are like, well, okay, that's an extra benefit. We're going to have it exclusive for us and we can experience all of that. So I think it's difficult because it's unusual for a hotel to be exclusive, but for that price point, I think exclusivity was a benefit. And I've heard from a few people, and I don't know if, again, this is just because it's new, but since they've been letting the non-guests in, the roaming characters have stopped apart from in Castle Club level. So the general guests staying at the hotel aren't seeing as many roaming characters, which I think is such a shame because that is a reason people are paying to stay there. So I think they have to kind of work out kind of what benefits are included for people paying that price point, because like you say, it is so expensive that they do need to have a lot of benefits because you've paid for them. Like, you have paid your good money, so you need all the benefits. Oh, there's so many amazing comments. I'm so sorry, they're scrolling past me. This is amazing. Oh yes, so Guy, this is very exciting. Thank you so much, guys. So basically, something is very exciting and I'm going to be launching very soon is Disney planning consultation services. So I'm currently working with Guy. He has the most incredible trip to Disney World coming up in May, and I've been helping him plan it, which has been so exciting. I absolutely love all people's Disney trips. Like, hearing about other people's trips makes me just as excited as my own. So it's been such a pleasure in helping Guy plan his ultimate trip. I think it's going to be amazing, all the things he has planned. And it's just been so fun kind of getting to recommend kind of the best way to do things, what restaurants would be a good pick for Guy and his daughter, and just kind of helping make it a bit easier, a bit smoother, because particularly Disney World, there are so many elements to plan. It can feel very, very overwhelming. So with the consultations, there's going to be a few different options. There's going to be somewhere it's just like a 45-minute Zoom call. If you've got any questions, you can we can have a little chat, answer all the questions, help you have an amazing trip. There's then going to be an option for 90-minute consultations. So it's a bit more in-depth, talk about more topics, maybe just to help you find where you can get the cheapest prices and kind of more detailed consultation. And with those, of course, you can do as many as you need over the course of your trip. You might just need one and all your questions are answered, or you might want to do a few leading up when you have more questions. And then the final option is going to be what Guy is having, which is the bespoke service, where I will kind of plan everything for you. So I'll be able to see and let you know the comparisons of where to get the cheapest hotels, the cheapest packages, the cheapest way to visit, and then book your dining for you, recommend whatever experiences you might want to do, the best ways to get the most out of your trip. So I'm very excited to launch this very soon. I think it's going to be so much fun, and I'm hoping it just kind of takes the hassle out of planning the trip. It makes it much easier, and also you know that you're going to get the best out of the trip because I'm going to tell you all of the things that you need to know so that you can have the absolute most amazing time. So I'm so excited, and I can't wait to carry on planning with Guy. We're going to do a very exciting reveal soon to his daughter to let her know she's going, which I cannot wait for. So it's going to be perfect. It's so exciting. And yeah, it's not long now, Guy. It's coming very soon. I can't believe how incredible this trip is. So I can't wait to hear all about it when you get back as well. Like, it's going to be the best. This is a great question. Would you ever host a meet and greet in Disney itself? And that is something that has been suggested before. And I think if that's something people would love to do, I'd definitely be up for it. I think it would be so much fun. Actually, when I was in California, some lovely ladies that I had met via social media called Dawn and Connie, they are California locals. So when I was going out there, they were like, we have to meet up. So we kind of spent an afternoon together and it was so fun. So I love getting to meet people face to face. So I think that is definitely something we should do going forward. And as I said, I'm going to Disneyland Paris this March and Disney World this September. So if people happen to be there at the same time, we definitely need to coordinate so we can arrange something. And going forward, it would be good, like you say, to kind of plan an actual meetup. And something that's also been suggested is maybe doing a meetup in London, and we could do something Disney themed in the day. So I think that would be so good, because it'd just be so nice to meet people face to face. And yeah, but doing it in Disney is next level, isn't it? Like, how incredible would that be? Oh my god, yes. You have to be coming. Come, book a last minute trip to Disney World in September, and then we could do the rodeo barbecue. That would be incredible. Can you imagine being like, it's very important, like, guys, I have to book time off for work, and like family and friends, I'm really sorry I've got to go because there's a meet up and we have to meet in Orlando. It's imperative. So it's not my fault. I just have to go. That would be amazing. Yes, Serena, I'm so excited you are going to California this summer, and I can't wait to see your trip and what you think. I am absolutely blown away by California. I loved it so much, and I just feel like everyone who goes would have a next level trip. And it's just something special as well, because it's one of those things that where it is much further to fly to, it's not somewhere people get to go to as often. So it makes it super, super special. And what is very interesting, I found, is when people say it's a locals park, they are not kidding. Almost everyone I met was either from California or the surrounding states. I only heard, whilst I was there, I met one lady from New Zealand, and in a queue I heard some Australian people. Outside of that, I did not hear any other accents. So it's really interesting that it very, very much is a locals park. So if you are a foreigner, it's amazing, because also people are so excited that you're there. So everyone wants to talk to you, and they're just like, oh my god, you've come. And yeah, I think it's kind of like it's almost like a hidden gem. And it sounds silly because everyone knows about Disneyland, but it's because it's a little bit more difficult to book to go. I think people kind of back out and are unsure. But if you get to go, it's so incredible. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear your experience, Serena. And yes, it's so true. We were both in California just a few days apart and missed each other, and it would have been amazing to meet up. So yeah, it has to happen. I'm sure the Disney gods are going to make it so our paths can cross, because it would be next level. And yeah, we're so doing this Roundup Rodeo barbecue meetup. It has to happen. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be so good. Oh, okay, we're all going to have to go to California so we can meet up with Randy as well, because it's amazing your last trip to Disneyland was when you were 3 years old. And I always love when you haven't been to a park for a very long time to see the difference, because you have all these amazing memories of when you visited. But of course, the great thing about the Disney parks is they're always evolving. So when you go back, it's kind of, you have that nostalgia, but also loads of excitement from new things, which I absolutely love. And I always think it's really special as well when adults went as a child and you get to see them and it's their first ever time going as an adult, and seeing that it kind of, the excitement, and it's just, I love it. Like, Disney's just the best. I don't think there's anywhere else quite like it. Like, you can have an amazing holiday in so many destinations, but they're, you know, we talk about the magic, but it genuinely is real. You can literally feel it, which is well, we all love it, obviously. Yes, and Serena, it's the best way to do it. That I think going to do the 2 locations, and are you doing Universal while you're still there? And because there's so many amazing things to see in California and Los Angeles itself, it's great to do like a multi-center trip. And I absolutely love Los Angeles. It's so interesting. There's so much to see and do. It's one of those like weird places. It's very unusual because it is obviously glitz and glamour and plastic surgery and stuff, but then it's also like incredible beauty. You've got mountains and the ocean's not very far away. Like, it's amazing. So I hope you get to experience so much, because it's so good. When I was there when I was 18, something weird happened to me. I was walking down the street. It was like Sunset Boulevard, so like obviously super famous road. And this man started photographing me, and we had passed a shop that sold cameras, and I thought, oh, he must work there, so he's trying to sell me a camera. So he was kind of taking all these photographs. I thought that's a bit aggressive. And then there was about 15 of them, and I thought, bloody hell, he must be getting loads of commission. They're really, really aggressive. But they kept asking me questions about Ozzy Osbourne. Now, I have had this before, that sometimes if you're from England, people think that because obviously our population is smaller, that you know a lot of people. I've been asked what day of the week do you meet the Queen, things like that. I thought, because I was English, I just thought I knew Ozzy Osbourne. And I was like, what's going on? They're all taking these photographs. The person I was with was then like, they think you're Kelly Osbourne. And I was like, I don't know how that's happened because we don't look anything alike. But I got papped, basically, which was amazing. What an experience. What an amazing experience. Even though we don't look alike at all. So I hope that somewhere in the archives of TMZ, there's some really confused photos of me. But what was very funny about that as well is because I wasn't in the mood for buying a camera, didn't need to buy a camera. I was like, oh no, please, no, it's fine. I didn't need. And it kind of, if you were famous, you might be acting like that, which I think is really funny. So I hope you get an amazing experience like that, Serena. I hope you find some weird and wonderful memory. Well, this is a great question. For a first-time trip to Disneyland Paris and wanting to stay on a budget and staying on site, which hotel would you recommend? Oh my god, Randy, if you do a solo trip, just let me know what date you're thinking of going, because yeah, that would be literally incredible. But I would really, really, really highly recommend either the Santa Fe or the Cheyenne. What's great about Disneyland Paris is all of the hotels are within a 15-minute walk of the parks, and they also all have free shuttle buses that take just a few minutes. These two are the value resorts, but they have incredible theming. If you go to the Santa Fe, it is all cars themed. They've kind of made it look like Santa Fe. It's amazing. And the Cheyenne is actually one of my favourite hotels at Disneyland Paris in general. The theming is Toy Story. The rooms are so cute. I would say the Cheyenne is slightly better than the Santa Fe in the sense of you can control the temperature in your room. The rooms are slightly bigger, little touches like that. But I would say even though they're value resorts, they're very, very well themed. They do not seem like super budget. They've cut corners. They're all great. They've all recently also had coffee machines added into the room, which for a value resort is amazing. And I absolutely love them. They both have Starbucks on site, which is such a perk. It's so handy. And you can't go wrong, I think, with any of the hotels at Disneyland Paris. They're all really great, all really close. But I absolutely love those two. And they're the two hotels I stay at most. And I've always had amazing experiences at them. We're actually going to the Cheyenne in March. It's where me and Peter stayed last trip as well. And we can't wait to go back because we both love it. And the Toy Story theme is amazing. The like curtains are Woody's shirt. Amazing. And there is a boot lamp which I need to take home with me, but it would look very suspicious because very clearly you're stealing a lamp. Yes, guys, 100% right. Next weekend we are going to reveal his daughter. They are going in a few months' time to Disney World. It's so exciting that she doesn't know yet. And I also think this is a great time to announce because it also means she's going to be able to have loads of input into the things she wants to do, the places she wants to go, the things she wants to see. And I think that's really, really nice. I think doing the last minute surprises can be super fun because it's like, we're going right now, and people are like, oh, and it's all overwhelming. But sometimes I think it's kind of like such a big, exciting announcement that people can't take it in. And getting to be involved, I mean, obviously, I love planning trips, and I think planning is part of the experience and getting to see like all the things you can do and the people you can meet. And I think that's so much fun. So I think it's like the literal perfect timing to announce, and I can't wait. Oh, that's so sweet that she thinks we're actually going next year. So it's going to be incredible to be like, oh no, very, very soon we are going. It's going to be so fun. Oh my gosh, yes, a UK meetup. We definitely have to plan this. I think it'll be so much fun, and we could do something Disney themed in London. I'm saying London because I'm assuming that's the easiest place for people to get to. But I think it would be so much fun, and to get to actually meet people face to face would be the best. Oh, it's very interesting to hear that Randy's an annual pass holder, and a lot of people in the US think Disneyland and Disney World are quite similar. And I think that's so true. I think it's so easy to kind of think, oh, it's Disney, it'll be the same experience. But I think all the parks have such unique identities, which is great. And I really enjoy that there's enough familiarity that when you go, oh my god, Main Street, and I can see Casey's at the end of it, and then I know it's Big Thunder Mountain, but all of them are slightly different so that you have a unique experience. And I think that's like such a perfect blend, and that's why I'm hoping Disneyland Paris has a lot of talk about what the other land is going to be. We know Frozen Land is coming next year. They were going to do Galaxy's Edge. It looks like that's been shelved, so everyone's kind of talking about what could be the other land, and I hope it's something unique to Disneyland Paris, because at the moment we're seeing a lot of parks having very similar lands. Of course, we've got Galaxy's Edge, we've got Avengers Campus, they're going to have a Pandora in Disneyland as well as Disney World, but it kind of makes the parks a bit homogenized, and it's nice to go to parks and go, oh, this is unique to that park. So I think it'll be exciting. A lot of people talk about Lion King Land. Maybe that could be a thing. That would be amazing. I'm surprised they never did Beauty and the Beast, but of course now Tokyo does have a Beauty and the Beast land. But being in France, that would have been incredible. So yeah, let me know what land you would like to see. I'm hoping the rumours that there's going to be an expansion in Magic Kingdom in Disney World to include a villain's land are true, because it's my ultimate dream. Actually, in the pandemic, there was an online course. It was like fun. I think it was meant to be for kids, and it was all about how Imagineers work. And the course was all about planning your own Disneyland in a park. And it was kind of everything down to what kind of floor tiles would you have, what scent would you have pumped in, what font would you have. It was really, really in depth. And I planned a whole villain's land, and I was obsessed with it. So I'm really hoping that can come to fruition, because I know people would love a whole park, and like that would be my ultimate dream. But I will settle for a land, and it would be amazing. Oh my god, live mermaids in the lagoon. I love thinking back of all of the things, and sometimes I think, did I imagine that, or was that an actual thing? But I had a video recently of when I was 6 and we went to Disney World for the first time, going in the cable cars that went over the top of Fantasyland through Magic Kingdom, and it was amazing. And I love thinking back to like, or my ultimate thing, and I'm like, it's so sad it went, because it was the scariest ride ever, was Alien Encounter. Did anyone go on Alien Encounter in Magic Kingdom? It was terrifying. It was amazing, but I love looking back and thinking about all of the things and like, oh, I missed that. And oh, I love as well when you have I've got a Captain EO shirt from when they brought back Captain EO for a few years after Michael Jackson died, and they had merch. So I've got a Captain EO shirt, and whenever I go to Epcot now, I always wear it. And so many people come up to me and go, oh my god, I loved Captain EO. And I saw someone with a Maelstrom t-shirt on once, and I was like, this is incredible. So I really think there is a market for retro Disney attraction merch. So someone needs to start making that, because that would be amazing. Yes, I'm so excited. You're excited to go to Disneyland Paris, and the Cheyenne I think would be a perfect choice for you. I think it'll be so much fun. But yeah, we all need to be doing this Disney World meetup as well. It's going to be so good. I'm loving that so many people do like the Cheyenne as well. It seems to be like, if you're going to go for a budget hotel, that's like the best option, because it's kind of got a little bit more features than the Santa Fe, but it's still a super great price. And yeah, it's just amazing. And the Wild West theming is incredible. Like when you walk in, it literally, you look like you're on the set of a Western. It's amazing. Oh, Gareth, it's very exciting to hear you're going to the Newport Bay. I loved my stay there. It's such a beautiful hotel. It has so many like amazing, like it's very lush. It feels very luxurious. And I was obsessed with the carpet, which is a weird thing to say, but I loved the carpet. The room decor is amazing, and I loved this private security channel. So it's much quicker to get into the parks, because typically only people from Newport Bay use that security channel. So it was so quick, and yeah, I hope you have the best time. It sounds like an amazing trip. Yes, Lisa, planning your trip a year in advance, 1,000,000%. I love it, and that's the thing I find interesting, is the planning is such a fun part of it, but it can be frustrating because the build up's so long that you kind of plan, oh, I want to do this, and then you're like, oh, but we've still got ages before we could do that. And you're like, I want it now. But the great thing is there's so many things to plan. You keep yourself occupied, and I always love to kind of think, is there anything I haven't done before? Is there maybe a tour I could try? And I think it's nice because every time you go, you still get a completely unique experience, which is so fun. Yes, Victoria, Villain's Land in Disneyland Paris would be so much better than Lion King. And yes, I've had a few people say that because obviously the Lion King came out 30 years ago, that has that ship sailed? Is it outdated? Do young children care so much about the Lion King? So it's hard to say, isn't it? Like, they haven't had a Lion King land anywhere, but will they go for something more modern? Although Lion King is so classic. The one thing I'm surprised they haven't done, now I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and maybe I'll get cancelled. Who knows? I don't like Stitch. I've said it. I'm not a big fan of Stitch. But Stitch is everywhere. People love Stitch. When I worked at the Disney store, Stitch and Eeyore by far were the most popular characters. People were obsessed with them. So it's interesting that they don't have, apart from like meet and greets, they don't have like Stitch things. I know they have like the Stitch kind of talking encounter thing in Disneyland Paris, but I'm surprised they haven't gone, let's have like a Lilo and Stitch land, because it is so popular. Although I'd be like, please, we don't need any more Stitch. I don't know if you live in the UK, Primark might as well just be called Stitch. Primark only sells Stitch merchandise at this point. They are going in on Stitch. And I'm just not a big fan. I know that he's beloved, so I feel bad. I'm also not a big fan of Eeyore. And I maybe there's something wrong with me. Yes, this is such a great question. It's so lovely to hear your experiences in Disney as a kid. And do you have any siblings? So I don't. I'm an only child, which is probably one of the reasons why I do a lot of solo trips, because I'm kind of used to liking my own company and going out and doing things on my own. But yeah, no siblings. I do have some cousins. Interestingly, all of my cousins also really love Disney. There's something in our blood. Everyone loves Disney. And one of my cousins has a little girl now. So I'm just waiting for the perfect time so we can do a trip and take her on her first Disney trip, because I think that would be incredible. And yeah, to see like her first experiences of everything would be amazing. So I'm gearing up for that. I've already decided. Even, you know, as soon as she was born, I was like, okay, we'll just have to wait a few years and we're obviously going to Disney. I do feel bad, like whenever I get her presents, it's always Disney themed, and I'm like, am I pushing this too hard, or is it like, as a family we do like Disney, so is this okay, or is this too much? Should I rein it in? Hi, please stand clear of the dad. Excellent name. What an excellent name. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, Victoria, I'm so glad that everyone is on board. The Stitch entertaining, but it's kind of become Stitch overkill. We've seen a lot of Stitch and we can't cope anymore. This is a great question. So Guy has asked, maybe you should share with people why planning a trip is so essential. And you know, people who have booked and are just kind of turning up and going with the flow, but you're 100% right. Knowing what days to do each Disney World park is a massive planning tool and helps you so much. And this is actually why I started Most Magical Guides, because every time I would go to Disney World, I would meet fellow Brits, and I always think you could tell British people, because we go full in. We are the ears, the backpack, the clothes. There's not one part of us that's not Disney, and I love that. That's also a top tip. If you're in Disneyland Paris and you want someone to take your photograph, but you don't know if they will speak English or French or another language, the person that has the ears, the backpack, the clothes, they are English. They will speak English. You can ask them, it'll be absolutely fine. That's how I always identify. We can tell each other, we can spot each other. But I think you're 100%. The reason I started Most Magical Guides is I would always meet people in Disney World who were having a great time, but they didn't know anything about planning, so they kind of just turned up and were going with the flow. And then they were like, oh yeah, like we haven't been able to get in any of the restaurants we wanted to, or oh, we've been queuing for a really long time for stuff. And I always felt so bad, because it's that thing of, with a little bit of planning, you can maximize your trip so much. And it's having access to that information, because as we all know, there are thousands of Disney websites and YouTube channels, and all helpful. You can get the advice, but it's wading through all of it and what's good advice, what's bad advice, what would actually work for us, because not everything works the same for different people, different types of trips, different groups of people, whether you've got children, whether you're just adults, whether you've got disability needs, whether you've got dietary needs. It will work slightly differently for all people, and then it's trying to get down the rabbit holes of which will work for me. But having that little bit of knowledge will maximize your trip so much, because you're going to save so much time, you're going to save so much money, and you're just going to know the best way to do things. So I absolutely think if you have the time to look things up, or if you want to come to someone like me, ask questions, do consultations, anything like that, then you know we can go, everything's planned, we know what we're doing, we're going to have the best time because we've got the information. And that's why I started this, because I was like, oh, especially the last time, when I was in Disneyland in 2018, that's when kind of most magical guides, I started thinking about it. I'd met a British couple on their honeymoon, and they were having the best time, but they were just missing out on so much because they just didn't know that you had to book dining so many days in advance. And this time is the peak time of day. So if you sleep in and get there kind of lunchtime, you're going to be queuing so much longer than if you maybe waited till the evening to do the rides, and maybe in the afternoon you do shows or things like that. So it's just finding out these tips can make your trips so heightened, and you just get the best experience. And I've been so fortunate over the years of visiting to have learnt so many cool tips, and I get to have these dream trips which literally blow my mind. Every time I go, I'm like, I can't believe this is life, and I can't believe how lucky I am that everything falls into place and it works so well. And I think it's just that culmination of picking up these tips over the years and being able to utilize them. So I was like, I want to be able to share this and help everyone else have the most amazing trips, because everyone has a great time at Disney, but you can definitely kind of get ahead if you know the ways to do things. So yeah, that's the way forward. Oh my god, a Duffy Land. That would be incredible, because I'm kind of sad that Duffy hasn't kind of been as popular everywhere else. I know he was kind of created for the Asian market, and seeing all the merchandise and the love for Duffy, I have FOMO. I'm like, I want to get involved. And I kind of do love that, again, it's kind of unique to the Asian park. So you kind of, if you want to experience it, you need to go. But I would love some Duffy love in the rest of the parks. Like, oh, I think it would be so fun. And if they did a Duffy Land, could you imagine how next level Duffy Land would be? And can you imagine how many people would fly to visit? It would be such a big draw. So they need to go all in. I 100% agree. Oh my gosh, God, that's amazing. This weekend you went to your mum's and got some photos of when you went in 1985. I love looking back at old photographs, and you must have incredible memories. I wonder if there's any photographs you took whilst you were there that you're going to recreate, but this time with you and your daughter. That would be amazing. And like, you can have like a comparison side by side. That would be so nice. And yeah, and you've got park maps in pristine condition from 1985. That's amazing. I've got some Disneyland park maps that I got when I was 18, and it was an anniversary year. I don't want to say it was it must have been their 50th anniversary actually. I was going to say next year it's their 70th anniversary, and I must have visited about 20 years ago. That's horrible. Don't say that out loud. But I have a map from some time ago. And it's great, isn't it, to kind of look back and see the difference now and the things they were promoting, and I love it. And it's also nice to see the difference, like Mickey and that looks slightly different over time, and absolutely love it. Oh my god, Lisa, the 2-hour queue for It's a Small World. That's intense. Any queue for 2 hours is long. But yeah, when you're not prepared as well, you're like, why is this taking so long? What's happening? And yeah, that's wild. It's a Small World. That is a long queue. It's mad. Oh, this is a good question, Victoria. Do you know any Easter eggs in the parks? Oh, this is so fun. The things I like to do is stuff like, so if you're in Disneyland Paris, for example, when you're going on the Snow White ride, obviously the normal thing to do is look forward so you don't bump into things. But if you look upwards, there's a window, and every now and then the evil queen peeps out and looks at you. She's like, and then shuts the curtains. She doesn't go no, that would be rude. But I love little details like that. And I found that so fun to go and kind of explore. I also love it's the stuff that you miss, like the dragon under the castle. And it's one of those things that is listed on the Disneyland Paris website. They let you know, but it's not really signposted. So it's so easy to skip over, but I think it's so fun. And it's all these little kind of touches where they've really thought about, you know, how can we make this more amazing? And I think that's what separates Disney from every other theme park in the world, is the level of detail and immersion. They aren't just like okay, we're going to have this ride, pop it there, done. It is like, what colour is the light switch going to be? What shade of green is that plant going to be? Like, it's amazing. So all of these little places. I also love photo spots. That's something that I'm obsessed with finding. Disneyland Paris, one of my favourite ones, is by RC Racer, where you have the domino wall behind you. I think that's an amazing photo spot. I also really like, there's a bridge when you're walking towards Pirates of the Caribbean, and if you stand in the right spot, you have the pirate ship and Skull Rock next to you, and it's like an amazing photo spot. Also, the castle photo spots. Everyone always wants the head-on castle photo spot, but the best thing to do is go to the side of the castle, and this is in every Disney park. The side of the castle nobody goes to, nobody goes there, but you have the full shot of the castle with no one else in it apart from you, and it's the way forward. Like, we need to all get on the side castle shot game because it's amazing. It makes such a difference. Oh, and you've got a park map from 1987. This is amazing. Oh, what a great collection you have. That's going to be so fun. And I'm loving that you've already planned to recreate the photographs with your daughter. That's going to be perfect. Oh, and Serena, you did the same in Efteling. How was Efteling? It's one of these parks that I'm desperate to go to. It looks so whimsical and magical. And I hope you had an amazing time. But it's lovely you recreated photographs of your boys. That's amazing. Hi, Mark. Oh, you're Disney World veterans and have not been to Disneyland Paris, but you're taking your kids in this June, staying in the Marvel Hotel. Such an excellent choice. That hotel is stunning. It's amazing. And I love that it's so sleek and modern. Like, you're going to absolutely love it. So yes, at Disneyland Paris, you can check out the other hotels. So all of the other hotels you can walk into, apart from the newly reopened Disneyland Hotel. So because it's only just opened a few weeks ago, at the moment, it's a virtual queue for people that aren't staying. I would say by June, that might be gone because the hotel's been open less than a month. Originally, it was just for hotel guests. Then it was, you can wait in a queue. I think the queue was about 3 or 4 hours, but you can do that. Then they've moved to a virtual queue. I think eventually they will scrap that all together and you will just be able to enter like any other hotel. So yeah, keep an eye out on the news, but I think by the time you're there, probably anyone can enter. But I think it's a great thing to do. I love going to look at the different resorts. I often go to I think I've actually been to the Art of Marvel Hotel every single trip because I just think it's so fun. Incredible dining, amazing bars, great shop, like great theming. So if you aren't staying, definitely visit because some of the best food is found in that hotel, and it's so easy to skip over hotels for dining because if you're in the park, you want to eat in the parks, but they have some of the best food. So I would definitely, and I think that it's across the board, like Disney World has amazing food in the hotels. So don't skip over that if you have the opportunity to go. Definitely go and see. And it also gives you a good idea, like, oh, maybe I'd like to stay here. Like, this hotel's got the right vibe for me. And I just think it's a great way to go and experience the Disney resorts. And I can't wait that you're staying in the Marvel Hotel. Like, I'm literally blown away. It's so nice. So I think you're going to have the best trip. Yes, the Cars Land. Yeah, so the Cars themed hotel. It is so cute, and I hope that they really enjoy it. What I also like in Disneyland Paris, in the hotels, the characters do meet and greets, but they're in costumes themed to the hotel. So that's really fun as well. So if there's a particular, the only place you can't do that is the Marvel Hotel. The character meets there are specifically for hotel guests. But any of the other hotels you can go and visit and you can see the characters in their costumes themed to that hotel, which I think is great. Oh, how many days for Disneyland Paris do you recommend? So I would recommend 3 or 4 days is a really good kind of length of time. I would say, taking into account travel days, 4 days might be good because then you've got plenty of time to arrive and you can leave on the 4th day knowing that you've still got some time in the parks but enough time to travel as well. Then you've got 2 full days in the parks and it can be perfect. Like, what I really like is because everything's so close, you can easily jump between the 2 parks. You've also got time to rest during those times. You don't have to go. And I really enjoy it. I'm sorry that there's a very loud motorbike going past. But yeah, I think that's the ample amount of time because then you're not having to rush, but you're also going to fit everything in at your own pace. And it's also the things like, if you go for a shorter period of time, you can get a lot of the rides done, but then you might have to miss out on some of the shows, stuff like that. Whereas if you're there for 3 or 4 days, you can see the shows, the parades, the fireworks, you can meet characters, you can kind of do everything, which is perfect. Oh, Victoria, this is very exciting. The curtain in the top window of Phantom Manor also twitches. Need to be checking this out. I love Phantom Manor. Such a great attraction. And I love it in every version, like Haunted Mansion, absolutely obsessed. I think it's one of the most iconic Disney rides that they have. And I love that they kind of have slightly different storylines, which is so fun. And the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay was incredible. I was obsessed. I couldn't get over it. It was so, so good. Loved that. Yes, I should have brought the jacket for the live stream. So if you've all seen my short where I was gifted the most incredible jacket, which was for opening day cast members at Disneyland Paris, that was actually from Guy. Like, what a legend. What an incredible gift. And I should have had it. It's upset. If I had someone else living in my house with me, I'd be ordering them to go and get it, but I would have to just disappear for a little bit. But I think the next live stream I should wear it. It should be the thing. We should absolutely do that because it's just next level. Oh, this is a good question. How did you find the All-Stars resorts in Florida and the transportation? So I absolutely loved the All-Star resorts. They're value resorts. They're the cheapest of the value resorts. So I think people kind of worry, oh, is it going to be like super budget and very basic? But I was really impressed. The rooms have all recently kind of been renovated within the last couple of years. So they're very, very sleek. There's not loads and loads of Disney touches. There are some like Disney artwork, but I would say across the board, you're seeing a lot less Disney touches in the Disney hotels in Disney World as they get renovated, which is kind of sad. I love it. Like, I think they're trying to be a bit more sophisticated, but I'm like, I want Disney vomit. I want it all. I want to walk in and just be hit in the face by Disney. But I was so impressed. I thought the rooms were really comfortable. I didn't hear lots of noise, which I was worried that maybe because you have it's in blocks, and then all of your rooms have a door that leads to a corridor that's outdoors rather than indoors. So people, I think, kind of worry, will you hear a lot of noise? I don't know if I was just lucky, didn't hear any noise. I was very, very impressed. Now, I hired a car, so I didn't use the transportation. The one thing I do know is that the All-Star resorts, they're all next to each other in a row, so you can actually walk easily between them. And I do think the buses do go to all 3 resorts, so they don't have one for each individual resort. I don't know if in peak hours maybe they change that. So people have said that sometimes you might have a little bit of a longer journey depending on which resort you're staying in. But I do know a lot of people I know use Disney transportation and they swear by it, and they've always found it super easy to use. They seem to come quite frequently during peak hours, kind of for park opening and park close. They do put extra transportation on, which is super, super handy. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really, really good option. And as a solo traveler, it's perfect because in the US, the one downside is hotels you buy by the room. So if I shared with someone, I would instantly halve the costs. Or if I shared with 3 people, it would quarter the costs. If you're a solo traveler, you take on the whole cost yourself. So that can be a very expensive way to travel if you're doing a solo trip to the US. But staying in a value resort is perfect because you're going to be in the parks most of the time anyway. And something I found, my last solo trip to Disney World, I did 14 nights at All-Star Music. Then I did 2 nights at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I literally just stayed in the hotel, experienced everything it had on offer, ate in all the restaurants, and just relaxed. And that was really, really great. I found if I'm at the parks all day long, I wouldn't get the benefit of the deluxe experience. And if you're a solo traveler, where you're taking on all that cost yourself, I don't think I'd pay out unless it was a really, really good deal, just because if you're in the parks all day, you're not going to get the benefit. So if you're planning to spend a lot of time in hotels, it can be a great thing to upgrade because you get all the benefits. But if you're going to be out all day, the value resorts are really, really, really nice. Ooh, let's have a little look. There's some such great questions. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, Guy, you're so right. With Frozen 3 and 4 now having been announced, a Frozen Land perfect timing for Disneyland Paris, but would it be good timing for them to do it in Disney World as well? I think it'll be interesting. We've had talks about this villain expansion, and I don't think we've heard any other talks about. We know that Disney have it on their mind about expansions and having a fifth gate. But there's been no kind of firm thing, so it will be interesting to see if they do more with Frozen, because obviously it's been like a breakout success. They've got the Frozen Ever After ride in Epcot. There's obviously a demand for it, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. Oh, Serena said, so you have photo ops in the Art of Marvel Hotel. I thought it was just for guests staying at the Art of Marvel Hotel. I didn't think other people could go. Like, obviously, you've got, like you say, there are great like there's photo walls like of artwork, and you've got like the shield, you've got Iron Man suits. So there's loads of places to take great photographs. But I think to meet the superheroes, I was under the impression you had to be a guest. But do let me know if that's not the case, because that's amazing if not. Like, what a treat for people. Although I have to say, if you want to meet characters, Marvel characters, if you go into the Studios Park, the Hero, is it called the Hero Training Center? Amazing. First thing, virtual queue, which is perfect because it's super popular. I think when I did it, it was something like 160-minute wait, but because you've got your virtual place in the queue, you just experience the rest of the park. It was fantastic. And then they just give you a notification on the app when it's your time to go in, and you could choose different options. So you could choose to meet specific heroes, and it will let you know on the app who's meeting that day. Or you can have, I think my one was just like meet a hero, and you didn't know who you were going to meet, which was very exciting. And it is so fun. I had the best time with Captain America, and they also have this really cool 180-degree photo, and it does like a movement. It's so good. So if you do love Marvel characters, don't skip over that, because I think it's one of those things that people don't really know about again. But if you're on the Disneyland Paris app, go for the Hero Training Center or the Hero Training Experience, and you can do your virtual queue, and it's amazing. And this photograph is next level. I can't go for it. Oh, thank you so much. It's so exciting to hear that, like, my brain is getting the information across, which is good, because you're always wondering, am I rambling? Am I going in circles? Does this make sense? So I'm so glad to hear that it's coming across, and it's so helpful. Oh, it's very interesting to hear, Serena, you're thinking of doing All Stars as your next resorts. That's perfect. And you stayed at Pop and Art of Animation. What did you think? And also, what were the Cars suites like? I always love hearing people's different experiences. I love that they are Skyliner resorts now. I am obsessed with the Skyliner. As someone who has a fear of heights, I was absolutely terrified to go on it. Now, I go on it just for fun. I just make a point of going on the Skyliner. I absolutely love it. So, and I love that also you have value resorts that are on the Skyliner, because typically the higher the category of the hotel, the more range of transportation you have. But the fact that they now have some value resorts that have buses and Skyliner, I think is amazing, which is so good. Oh, this is a great question from Guy. To compete with Epic Universe, what do you all think should be the new park at Disney World? What could compete? Which is very interesting. I do think that I think this is all great news, because obviously if you're visiting Florida, or the fact that we're going to have a Universal park right here in the UK is fantastic news for people that love theme parks. But I also think it's a great benefit because it's going to force Disney to kind of step their game up and what we're going to do to compete. So yeah, I think Guy's 100% right. What would you all like to see? If Disney opened a fifth gate, what would you like that to be? What do you think could compete with Epic Universe? And I think it'll be very interesting to see what Disneyland Paris do when it comes to Universal coming to the UK, because I'm just going to put it out there right now. Universal instantly will be the best theme park in the UK. It will blow everyone else out of the water. But it could very easily become the best theme park in Europe if Disneyland Paris don't kind of keep up. So it'll be interesting to see, particularly because obviously Disney have had a rough few financial years. So it is starting to bounce back, but it's an interesting time because Universal are expanding at a very fast rate. whilst Disney are having financial difficulties. So how did Disney keep up and compete whilst staying on budget? So it'd be interesting to hear what you'd all like to see, because I'm sure they're gonna have to do so. I'm sure a fifth gate will be announced. And something that's great about Disney World is at the moment you've got the 4 parks, the 2 water parks, you've got over 30 hotels, over 200 restaurants, you've got Disney Springs, and that is only on 1/3 of the land that Disney World own. Now, 1/3 will always be for conservation, which I think is amazing, but it does mean they have the capacity to build what they have at the moment again. So they have the capacity for another 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, Disney Springs, 30 resorts, 200 restaurants. That's incredible. It's very exciting. Yes, Mark, it's so interesting to hear. I'm so glad to hear that other people agree. It's a shame to see the Disney World resorts have the theming kind of really reduced, and some of the hotels seem a bit sterile now. Interestingly, I did read the lady who's kind of in charge of the retheming used to work in hospitals. And I know that when it came to some of the retheming, particularly in the boardwalk area, people were saying this feels kind of like a waiting room in like a doctor's office. And then people were like, oh yeah, that's what she used to work in. So that's quite interesting to see. And it's a shame because I feel like when people go to Disney, they want the full experience, particularly because, especially if you have kids as well, they're going to absolutely love if it's full on Disney. And that's something I love about Disneyland Paris. They have not shied away from the theming. They're like, we're going in on the hotels. And I'd love to see the Disney World resorts kind of step it back up, because yeah, like you say, the immersive theming is what makes them so special. And I don't know if they've kind of, it's interesting because in the resorts they've kind of taken away the Disney, whereas the Galaxy Star Cruiser, the Star Wars hotel, they went so in on the theming that it was almost like, I literally think it sounded incredible, but it was kind of, you had to be really into Star Wars and also really into like cosplaying or LARPing, something like that, to get the full benefit. But then the people who could afford the price point might not want that full experience. And it was interesting that they kind of did the most immersive hotel you could ever think of, and it just kind of didn't work, because I think it was kind of a mixture of the price point was too high for the people that would love that, and the people that could pay the price point don't want to spend 3 days in a hotel LARPing. Although I would have loved it. It looked next level. But it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do. They've said there are plans for it. So will it become an extension of Galaxy's Edge? Will it turn into like immersive dining? It would be amazing to have like a character dining Star Wars experience. That would be really cool. So yeah, what would you like to see them do with it? That would be so fun. But yeah, I'm so glad people would love a Villains Land. I think that would be so popular. Like, everyone loves the Disney villains. Like, the Halloween parties are so popular across the board. So yeah, we need more villains. I am petitioning telepathically that Dr. Facilier is a part of Tiana's Bayou adventure. When you're going up for the big drop, if he is not going, are you ready? Are you ready? I am going to be so sad. I'm going to be so sad. So let's hope we get some more of him, because that would be amazing. Oh, interesting. So yes. Oh, so that's really interesting, Serena, to hear that you could go and do the fun themed kind of backdrops in the Art of Marvel Hotel. That's so interesting to hear, because I did not know that. So I need to go and check that out, because they look so fun. There's like an upside down room. From what I've seen, it looks amazing. So thank you for the tip, because I need to go check this out. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. That's so lovely. Yes, Gareth. So yeah, you're so right. So Universal at the moment, they have announced the UK theme park. You're absolutely correct. They've just bought PortAventura in Spain. And they also are currently building a small family theme park in Texas. And of course, they've got Epic Universe opening. So Universal are doing amazingly and expanding all over the world. So I do think it's a really interesting time for Disney to see what they will come back with. And I think it's difficult because Disney is always expanding and growing, but people kind of very quickly forget, like, oh, Galaxy's Edge hasn't been open that long. And we've had Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the most expensive rides Disney has ever made, literally just opened. But people have already forgotten about that because they're like, but there's a whole new theme park. So I do think it'll be interesting to see where they go with it, because I think having new rides or new lands is fun, but people really want that fifth gate. And what will it be? What will it be? I don't know if this is true, but years ago I was talking to a cast member and they were saying originally the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling was in talks with Disney, and instead of Pandora, it was going to be Harry Potter. Could you have imagined the crossover merch? Mickey, which house is he in? I want to see him in his robes. I would have burst if that happened. But I do also think that something that boosted Universal massively is having the Wizarding World, and it's the land that is the most immersive in Universal. So it's incredible. But imagine if that had been at Disney. That would have been incredible. I couldn't have got over that. Oh, Lisa, you are staying in Pop for the first time in September. That will be amazing. And it's the first time in a Disney resort. That's so exciting. I also always used to stay off-site, and then I went and stayed on-site, and then I was like, oh, I can't do anything else now, because being in that Disney bubble, it's just a feeling, and you're just in that Disney magic all the time, and it's amazing. So I hope you have the best time, and the fact that it's a Skyliner resort is perfect, and I love the theming there. It looks so much fun. So I hope you have the best trip, and when we are at Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, we can discuss it. What is the hotel like? But yes, Serena, it's very interesting to hear you think that the CEOs at Disney don't want to spend any more money, which I do agree that where they've lost, I think I was reading that in the past 2 years, they've lost $200 billion, that's a lot of money to get back. Now, the one place they are making money is the parks, and they're making a lot of money in the parks. So I think being parks focused is a good idea, because it's that thing of you have to pay a lot out, but you will get a lot in return. So it's just if they can pay out at the moment. But yeah, I think Disney Plus has been very difficult. Like, all streaming services are struggling massively to retain people, but also because they're spending so much money to make programs and films that are unique and will draw people to sign up. They spent so much money on them that they can't really reap that money back. So they're all kind of panicking, like, what do we do? So it's a very interesting time in TV, because terrestrial TV is pretty much dead. They're having a real hard time with advertising. There's very few programs being commissioned because streaming services have taken over, but the streaming services are spending so much money on productions that they just can't make the money back. So then they're struggling. So it's very interesting to see how the world of entertainment is coping and what will happen. But I do think if they're going to invest, they should invest in the parks, because that is where they are making the money. But like you said, I think it's hard for them at the moment to decide where do we want to kind of put the money. Because, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy and Rise of the Resistance are probably two of the most state-of-the-art rides at Disney. They're rumoured to have cost $500 million each, and that's just one ride. So to build a whole new park, I can't even imagine how many billions we're talking. But, you know, they do have the capacity, so let's hope that they kind of do that. That would be amazing. And it's very interesting, like you say, Serena, that Epic Universe is kind of more child-friendly, because Universal is a lot of big coasters and simulators, so not always super child-friendly, so it will be interesting. I am very excited to see the Universal Monsters land. That's incredible. Like, I love Universal Monsters, like all of the classic horror films. Obviously, Halloween Horror Nights is incredibly popular at Universal, really a standout event. So to kind of have that all year round is amazing. I don't know if anyone remembers, way back when, this would have been like 30 years ago, they used to have an Alfred Hitchcock experience in Universal Studios, and it was brilliant but terrifying. I don't know if anyone else experienced that or if I've had a fever dream, but I very distinctly remember they kind of recreated, it was kind of behind the scenes, how they film. They did a film from The Birds, they did a film from Psycho, and they had actors, and it was amazing. It was like a precursor to Halloween Horror Nights, but an all year round attraction. So I feel like it's going to be like that at Epic Universe, which is going to be so good. Oh, we love, Guy, that you're literally watching this right now wearing a top, and then next to the TV is a t-shirt. It's the same clothes. You're wearing the same outfit that you had taken at Disneyland Paris. And now, that's so fun. Oh, Mark has the tea. So yes, Disney did speak to J.K. Rowling first. They wanted Harry, Hermione and Ron live characters. Oh, it's such a shame. Could you imagine how amazing that would have been if, like, you could have met Mickey and Harry Potter in the same park? I did hear that in the negotiations it kind of became a bit of a battle of wills, because obviously J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter is her universe, and I think Disney came in too hard about wanting to kind of control or dictate to her how Harry Potter would operate. And then she was like, but it's my thing. And the reality is, whoever has it is going to get a huge amount of people visiting. And interestingly, Universal was always kind of on the back foot compared to Disney. They didn't have the same money that they could put into the parks, stuff like that. And I actually think they handed Universal the golden egg by letting J.K. Rowling go to Universal, because that has become such a draw for people visiting. And like, if I'm frank, the only reason I kind of go to Universal a lot, I would go to Universal a lot less if the Wizarding World of Harry Potter wasn't there, basically. I think it was a big error to kind of had them on the plate, millions of visitors that will go specifically just to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. But they've done such incredible things with it, and very excited for the Ministry of Magic, which is coming to Epic Universe. Also, what are we thinking is going to be in the UK park? Because we're clearly going to have Harry Potter, but are we going to go for the Diagon alleyway? Are we going to go for Hogsmeade? I'm assuming it's going to be Hogsmeade. People are going to want to see the castle, right? But what are we going to have? But imagine we're going to have Harry Potter in the UK. And we're also having Halloween Horror Nights, which I'm already planning. We're obviously going to do a meet-up. It'll probably be in about 10 years' time, but that's obviously happening. I can't wait for Halloween Horror Nights here. I can't go on my own. Last time, I'd planned to go to Halloween Horror Nights, and the hurricane came, and the day the park had to close was my Halloween Horror Nights party. And in some ways, I was like, this is a blessing, because my hotel was staying at Cabana Bay, and they had a Halloween Horror Nights kind of thing you could go to. So it was a room. All it had was cardboard cutouts and atmospheric music. And I went in, and there was no one else in there. It was just me. And I was terrified, and it was cardboard. There's no way. Why did I think I could go to Halloween Horror Nights on my own? That's ridiculous. So definitely need to go with other people. Oh my God, Gareth, I'm so glad someone remembers Alien Encounter. It was absolutely terrifying. If you didn't get to experience it, basically, you went into a room. In the middle of the room, there was this massive like water tank with an alien in it. And then you all sat in seats, and you were strapped in, and then the room went pitch black, but in the seats you had what do you call it? Like amplifiers isn't the right word, is it? Like speakers. And you also had stuff like, so you could feel things touch you, or so Stitch's, was it called Stitch's Great Escape? Whatever that ride was, that replaced Alien Encounter, but Alien Encounter was terrifying. Like, you'd hear an alien like walk, and then it would be like breathing in your ear, and you could feel the breath, and it was so frightening. It was absolutely terrifying, and it was pitch black but amazing. So I would love to see them bring that back, but I'm sure they're like, that's too much. We can't inflict that on people anymore. Oh, I'm wearing the same sweater. That's so exciting. That's so amazing. Yes, Victoria, this is so interesting that you're so right. Like, the live action Snow White movie has been, let's just call a spade a spade. It's been a disaster, and it's not even been released yet. And like you say, the amount of money they will have spent on that, and they haven't had like a super breakout success film for a very long time. And yeah, the Snow White film, it sounds insane. Like, it's been problem after problem. So it will be interesting to see how it does in the box office. It doesn't seem very hopeful, but it seems like I'd kind of like them to move away from the remakes, just because I've not seen any of the remakes that I've really, really enjoyed. And it's one of those things, like Walt Disney himself was very against remakes and sequels. He would never do either, though. He's all about innovation. And that's kind of why when you had the massive success of Snow White and Cinderella, because they made money, he was like, we won't get finance for Fantasia. People will think it's nuts. But because we've made money off the back of these, we can try something really experimental. And that's how Fantasia came about. And I think Disney need to get back to the core of the reason why Disney's so popular is the imagination. If you put really great stories out there in films, and like with the parks, if you create really amazing experiences, people will come and then you'll make money. But I think they're so focused on how do we make money that they're kind of sometimes skipping over the imagination part, and then it doesn't become a success because that's what people want. So I think they need to get back to that core of like imagination and innovation is the core of everything they do. And when you do that, the money will follow, rather than let's try and find the money, and that never works. Like that doesn't work in any business really, does it? If people are just going, that's got to make money. People want something that makes their life easier, makes their life better, enhances it in some way, and then they're willing to invest. So if the Disney CEOs are watching, interesting fact, I live in Portsmouth and the football club is owned by Michael Eisner, the former CEO of Disney, which is very strange. And in fact, Michael Eisner was here. He was at the football match yesterday and on Tuesday. And my dad's quite involved with the football club. Basically, this is very boring if you don't know football, but Portsmouth has been around for a very, very long time, the football club, and it was going bankrupt. So my dad helped set up a supporters trust, and basically fans invested in the park and it became a fan-owned club. And then after a few years, Michael Eisner bought it out. So kind of my dad's organisation sold it to Michael Eisner. So Tuesday and Saturday, my dad was hanging out with Michael Eisner. Where was my invite? Why wasn't I invited? I didn't want to turn this into like a family therapy session, but now we're going to discuss it. So how amazing. What a weird connection. But loving that Michael Eisner kind of owns Portsmouth Football Club. How random. A really little football club in the UK. Oh my gosh, Serena, I cannot wait to watch your vlogs when you go on Mickey's terrifying Wheel of Death, as it should be called. But they've called it Mickey's Pal Around. That sounds fun. That sounds light. It's terrifying. It's so frightening. And it's that thing of like, I know I have a fear of heights, but it's not until I'm on something that I suddenly go, oh yeah, I remember I'm really scared of heights. And I know it looks, oh, that's the cat's back. I know it looks big, but when you're on it and you're getting further and further and further away from the ground, that's just the tail, it's so high. And it stops quite a lot to let people on, obviously. But the swinging ones, next level, absolutely insane, absolutely nuts. And when they say swinging, they don't mean like we're swaying, they mean swinging. It is intense. Do you want to say hello? Coco, come say hello. This is Coco the cat. Oh, come on. Come say hello. Yes, say hello. The camera's that way. Oh, okay. I'll show everyone your face. People like seeing cats on the internet. The internet was made for cats. There you are. Hello, Coco. But I need to see this vlog. I need to see reactions because I was absolutely terrified. And it turns out that when you're filming, you need to be looking. But I was like, just point to the camera and hope that something is filmed, because I literally could not open my eyes. I was so frightened. Oh, Mark, that would be incredible. Great Hall, show, restaurant. If they did character dining in the Great Hall for Harry Potter, that would be incredible. And a Hex style ride, that would work really, really well. Do you know what I've always thought Universal haven't done? And I'm like, they surely must have considered this, a Harry Potter hotel. That would sell out for years in advance. They have to have considered that. Maybe the UK would be the place to do that. That would be pretty cool. But could you imagine how next level that would be? Like that would be incredible. So all of these sound like great ideas. And yes, I agree, Victoria. I think Walt would be turning in his grave if he knew what was happening with the Snow White live action movie. Because like you said, the original movie was his baby. It's what put Disney as a company on the map. Obsessed that they had the Oscar with the 7 small Oscars. loved that. But to kind of see how far they've drifted away from kind of the original story, and it's kind of that thing, I feel like if you're doing the remake, just remake it. When you start kind of changing with the elements, it can very, very easily become not good, because the reason people love... Ooh, sorry about that. I said I've disconnected and I'm back, so hopefully that didn't cause too much disruption. But yes, I'm glad that so many people have said they're not a big fan. I'm not, well, I just shouldn't say I'm glad that nobody likes the remakes, but it's nice to know that the sentiment seems to be felt amongst everyone. Like, people aren't kind of keen on it, and it feels like instead of focusing on making great Disney films, they've taken the easy route, because I think it's entirely a financial decision, because the hardest thing about films is marketing them. And how do you get people interested in a film? Like, how do we make this look good? But if you go, we're remaking Cinderella, everyone knows they love the original film, they know what the story is, they know the songs, so they're excited to go and see it. So they've saved loads of energy and time and thought because the marketing's already done for them. So I think it's kind of interesting to see that they've gone really far down the route. I have seen that they are thinking about doing A Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now, I love the animated film, absolutely love it. I do think in the current climate we're living in, I don't think you can remake that. I think it would be very, very interesting to see if they do go ahead with that, because I don't know, is it a storyline that can kind of be set, like, shown now? Would it be bad to kind of have Quasimodo, and how would you do that without it kind of, you know, kind of seeming potentially ableist? Like, it's very difficult. I don't know how they would do that. So I think maybe we'll just watch the classic films, and I would love to see them do some more originals, and if they put loads of brain power into the originals, they could do amazing things. And you know, we're due another golden age. You had the original golden age, you had the second golden age from the start of Little Mermaid, and then you had The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, all of those things. So we're due another golden age, but I think you have to have different CEOs. You have to have different people that really want innovation and creation at the heart of Disney. And I think at the moment you've got money people, and I don't think that's the best way to run a creative business. And I think the best CEOs have always been one creative and one business person. So obviously you had Walt, who was the ideas man, but Roy, who was fantastic with the numbers. And then you had Michael Eisner, who obviously was the second golden age of Disney films, but also the expansion of Disneyland Paris. You had Tokyo, all of those things under him. But you also had Frank Wells, his business partner, who together they were amazing. And then once Frank Wells passed away, kind of the wheels fell off a bit with Michael Eisner. And I think you don't have that at the moment. It's kind of just business people, money people. But Disney's a creative company, and I think they need to get back to that. So that's my TED Talk. Thank you for listening. Yes, Lisa, I've not actually seen the Aladdin remake, so maybe I need to check this out, because it's good to know that there are some that people enjoy. So I do need to check this out. Yes, you're 100% right, Guy. You need another breakout like Princess and the Frog. I love Princess and the Frog, and I'm so glad they're bringing it into the parks. But like you say, it's one of those films that at the time it came out, it didn't make like a massive splash. Ironic, I said splash. I didn't mean to link it to Splash Mountain, but here we are. And but it's been one of those films that it's been such a big fan base now. It's become such a classic. And you, like you say, they need another big hit, because like when Frozen came out, it was really promising, because everyone was like, this is it, it's happening. And then it's kind of like, oh, and it's not that the films they've released I think have been bad, but I think maybe they haven't marketed them. I think a lot of the recent films, like Turning Red and stuff like that, they did hardly no marketing for, and you just think, I didn't even realise there were films coming out. So it's an interesting there seems no point in putting so much time and effort into creating original stories and then not marketing them so no one knows about them. It's very unusual. Oh, Lisa, this is a good question. How is the movie Wish? I haven't had the time to see it yet, and can it compete with the other great ones? I actually haven't seen Wish either, so I would love to know. Is it on Disney Plus now? I don't know if it's quite made it onto Disney Plus yet, but I would love to see it. It did look good. I know I've got a friend who absolutely loved the music from it. It's just the music's amazing. So I definitely need to check this out because I feel like that was the one that people were hoping, is this going to be it? But again, I don't think it's been one that I've heard a lot of people like rave about, like you have to see this immediately. So it'll be interesting to see what film that will be, because they just need that one film that everyone's wowed by. Oh, we're gonna love it. Your reaction on rides are so funny. They remind me of my own reactions. This is the thing that's hilarious. Until I started vlogging, I did not realise how expressive a face I had. I didn't realise. And then when I started watching myself, I was like, that's what you look like. That's interesting. But now it really makes me laugh because it's so over the top. But genuinely, some of those rides, like Orbitron, I will always go on it. I will always think I'm falling out. I don't know why I think I'm falling out, but it just feels that way, and it's always terrifying. But it's so fun. I would totally recommend, if you have like not a ride where you could potentially lose your phone, but if you have the ability to kind of record yourself and ride, it's so funny to look back with everyone and have the memories. It's so good. Oh, thank you for saying hello to Coco. She's now trying to get her treats out of her little puzzle. She's so good. Jaffa is upstairs. He's having a little snooze, but Coco, she's like, I'm going to join in. I'm going to make a guest appearance every now and then. Yes, it'd be interesting if they did a full Toy Story hotel, like in Japan at Disneyland Paris. And like I said, the hotel in Japan, the pricing is expensive, but the theming is unreal. I think because they have the Cheyenne and they already have touches of this Toy Story, I don't know if they would go the whole hog. But the one in Japan looks incredible. The rooms are next level. And it's like, if you're going to do a themed hotel, that's how you do it. And yeah, I'm desperate to go to Japan. Like, everything looks amazing there. So yeah, we need to do it. But yeah, Victoria, you're so right. The fact that we're all massive Disney fans and none of us have seen Wish completely proves the point about marketing. Like, nobody knows anything about it, no one's seen it. And like you say, when even like your big fans aren't seeing films, that's not a good sign, because it's just like, it's almost a given that you would assume those people would go and see it. But if people don't really know about it, and I don't even really know what the film's about, if I'm honest. So it's that thing of like, I think the marketing really needs to kind of step up, and it just seems very interesting. There was a film, I can't even remember what the name of the film was, but there was a film last year that I didn't, or maybe it was even before that, I didn't even know a Disney film was coming out. And then I was at the cinema going to see Wakanda Forever, and they'd released this animated film the same time, which I think was a really bad call, because obviously Wakanda Forever was going to dominate the box office. But it wasn't until I was in the cinema I saw a poster up that I was like, oh, Disney got a film out. And it's just baffling to me that they're like, let's not do the marketing. But I think they've almost, because they've kind of relied on Marvel films, on Star Wars films, and on remakes, who those films kind of sell themselves, they've almost forgot how to do marketing. And I think this is the thing, like, Imagineers are so key to Disney. They are literally the heart. To have people who not only have amazing ideas, but can also actually put them into action. But the fact that they kind of really, really reduce the amount of Imagineers, and I just think they've got people that are the wrong people at the top. They don't need business people. Like, obviously you do need business people, that's silly. But like, you need creatives leading it. And then the business people are there to find out how to make it happen. But you need that ideas person, and then the money will follow. And yeah, but this is the thing. If my dad set it up so I could meet Michael Eisner, we could ask him, what do you think? Do you think they're going down the wrong route? I don't know if he can say, because I think he's still a shareholder in Disney. I'm pretty sure he's still on the board. So probably won't be spilling the tea. But it'd be nice to hear from someone who had success and really helped take Disney to another level, to see where he thinks they're kind of going wrong at the moment, because he's got thoughts. He must have. If we've got thoughts, he's got thoughts. Oh my god, yes, Randy, as soon as you tune back in, Astro Orbiter talk. It's amazing. But it's so frightening, and it's not meant to be frightening. It's literally not meant to, it's supposed to be like a fun little ride, and it's so scary. And it's just, when it tips in, and I know they haven't created a ride that you can fall out of. I know they haven't. My brain knows that. but I just always feel like I'm going to fall out and I can't cope. But then the problem is, if you go upwards, you tip in and you think you're going to fall out. But if you come to like the mid-level, it goes so fast at that level that you're then stuck to the side of the thing, and you're like, it's terrifying all around. And in Disney World, they're like, how do we up the ante? Put it on the roof. Absolutely insane. It's just bonkers. So yes, guys, the California vlogs are carrying on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I am so excited because I couldn't film on the tour specifically, but Wednesday's vlog is Walt's apartment tour day. And I'm so excited for you to get to see. I kind of give you a rundown of what you get to experience during the Walt's apartment tour, and it was such a highlight of my trip. If you are a fan of Disney or Walt Disney himself, this tour is incredible. And to be in his actual apartment, and you hear lots of stories from an amazing guide. And whilst I was there, obviously it was Christmas time, so they had a little Christmas tree on a table by the window looking out over Main Street, and right in front of the window is the actual Christmas tree, the full Christmas tree, and the one in the apartment was a mini one. So they've done the exact same decorations, but just on this mini tree, and it was so perfect. And there's a little patio, which I didn't know about. So we went out on the patio to have some drinks, and below us, the Dapper Dans were singing Christmas songs, and I was like, this is perfection. This is it's happening right now. And yeah, if you were a Disney fan, the tours you can do in the parks are next level. I also can't recommend enough the Keys to the Kingdom tour in Magic Kingdom and Disney World. Getting to go backstage and kind of learn about rides, and then you go on the rides, which is so fun, and to go in the utilidors underneath Magic Kingdom is like a Disney fan's dream. So yeah, these tours, if you've been to Disney before and you're looking for something unique to do, the tours are the way forward, because they bring such a different understanding to the parks, which I loved. It was so good. No, Gareth, you're 100% right. I'm with you. Half of the new films I can't even remember the names of. Victoria was so right when she was saying, if we can't, as Disney fans, remember them, there's no hope anyone remembers them, which is so good. Like, yeah, you're 100% right. Oh, Lisa, this is a great question. What do you think about the Disney musicals? The Lion King is one of the best-selling musicals still in Germany. And that's a good point. So that could absolutely point to a Lion King land, because the Lion King musical is still going strong everywhere. So like, I think, or is it might have closed on Broadway, but you know, well, it's in Europe, so we're okay. But I'm also very excited. They're having a Hercules musical in Hamburg, and I'm like, it looks so good from all the videos I've seen. So Lisa, if you are ever going to see that, we need to know a full rundown of what it's like, because that looks amazing. But I love all the musicals. Like the Lion King is, I mean, it's bad. I cry for basically 3 hours solid. The second it starts, I'm off. I can't cope. It's so well done. It's so stunning, so beautiful. I think it really elevates the story of the Lion King. I loved Frozen. It's really sad it's shutting in the UK in September. So if you haven't seen it and you are a Frozen fan, definitely go and see it. It's really good. I remember years and years ago, I know maybe last year that they brought Beauty and the Beast back. I remember seeing that as a child on the stage. Again, that was really good. But yeah, I love the musicals. I think it's such a great way to kind of experience Disney in a new way. And it's been nice the past couple of years, because you've also had Disney 100 in concert. I really enjoyed that. That was so much fun. They've got Disney on Ice. I used to go when I was a kid. I'd love to go again. Maybe we should go to Disney on Ice. We should go and see Disney on Ice as like a meet up. That would be so much fun. But I love that they kind of have all these different elements, so you can get a little touch of Disney in lots of different ways. But has anyone seen any of the musicals? What do they think? What is their favourite that they've seen? I think The Lion King is still my favourite, because it's just so stunning. It's so amazing. But I saw it as a child, and then it took me until 2022 to go and see it again, because I listened to the soundtrack for the musical a lot, cry the whole time, and I was like, I can't go and see this in person and just cry for 3 hours. So it took me a long time to go and see it, but I'm so glad I did because it was amazing. Oh, guys, very exciting that you're on Skyscanner looking up prices to California. And yeah, if you can get great flight prices, it's so worth going in. Like I say, the great thing about Anaheim is there's so many hotels near Disney that you can get really great deals because they're all competing with each other. So they all want to give you that good offer. The only place I would say that isn't good value is the Disney hotels. In California, they only have, well, they have 3 core hotels. They also have some DVC buildings. But the core Disney resorts, there's only 3 of them and they're all deluxe, but they are significantly more expensive. So when I was looking, I did look at staying at the Disneyland Hotel. The Pixar Hotel wasn't open, or when I was looking, they weren't booking yet for it. So I could only choose between the Grand Californian and the Disneyland Hotel, and it was 7 times the price of the hotel I stayed in. So the hotel I stayed in was, I think, £1,300, and it was going to be over £7,000, and that was the cheapest Disney resort. So, and I would say the only benefit you get is 30 minutes early entry, so you're paying a lot, which is bad. And my hotel, so I did one morning go to breakfast at the Disneyland Hotel, which I was so happy to do. It was amazing to experience the resort. Definitely go and visit them. She's going to try and get in front of the camera, so I'm going to stop her. They are stunning hotels. Like, if you can go and have a look around, get some food, do some drinks, something like that, go and visit the resorts. But my hotel that I stayed in was actually a quicker walk than from the Disneyland Hotel to get into the parks, which is wild. So it's not even like you're staying closer for walking. So I'd love to stay there, but it's one of those, if you've got the money and you can splurge, absolutely do it. But there's so many hotels to choose from. You don't have to stay at a Disney hotel to get the best experience. Yes, it's so true, Victoria, that the Lion King has kind of been this phenomenon, hasn't it? It's been successful all over the world. And yeah, I don't know if there is anything that would kind of compete. They've just done it so well. I'm so excited, Lisa, that you're going to see Hercules. I cannot wait to hear what that is like. It looks next level. I'm also very jealous because Hamburg is on my list of places I have to visit very soon. Like, I love visiting Germany. Going back to Berlin last year, it totally reignited my love, and Hamburg is on my list of places I've always wanted to go. So I need to be kind of getting my German better so I can go and see Hercules and understand. That'd be amazing. Oh, Serena, I'm so excited you went to see Disney on Ice, and I'm so glad your boys loved it. And yeah, it's one of those things. I used to go to Bournemouth. Brighton. I used to go to Brighton to go and see it, and loved it as a kid. But I just think it looks so fun, and I feel like everything is probably like advanced loads now, and there'll obviously be loads of new characters, and it just looks so good. Oh, Serena, this is so true. Peter Pan afternoon tea at the Shard. It looks so cute, and I love that in London there's actually a few different afternoon teas that are kind of Disney themed. There's an Alice in Wonderland one, I think there's a Beauty and the Beast one, Peter Pan one. Like, yeah, I feel like we all need to start planning afternoon teas, Disney on Ice. We need to go to all of these things. It'll be amazing. But I think it's a really great idea because sometimes you don't always have other people that are super into Disney things. So if you go, do you want to go to a Disney on Ice, or do you want to go to an afternoon tea? People are like, nah. But when you have other people that love it, it's a perfect way to kind of get to experience it with someone else that's just as excited. Hi, Mark! Oh, it's so exciting. Yes, you're so right that the kind of fan input to the Disney brand is missing. And oh my god, that would be amazing. We could take over. But I 100% think you're absolutely right that whenever you speak to Disney fans, there's always things that seem very obvious that need to be changed or could be changed that would enhance things. And it's interesting that the people that are that higher ups kind of disregard them, because you're like, but we can see how that would immediately make a difference. Like, I'm always saying to people, Disneyland Paris, stunning resort, some of the best rides in any Disney park, amazing. But the operational side does let it down in some areas. And they're not even things that you would need to throw money at. They're such easy fixes. And I'm like, guys, just do the little things. And then all of a sudden, it would make such a difference. So I do think they do need to take fan input into account, because like, give the people what they want and the money will come. What's the quote from Field of Dreams? Build it and they will come. It's that sort of thing. It will happen. If you give us what we want, we will pay all of the money. Like, we know no bounds. We will pay for it. So yeah, I think they should definitely take fan input more, or failing that, we just take over, and that would be amazing. We'll do a coup. Oh, it's so exciting, Mark. You're only 104 days away from Florida. It's very exciting. You're going to be in double digits soon. And I feel like once you get to that part, the countdown speeds up massively. And I know I've completely deviated away from the questions, but one of the questions was from Peter, which was amazing, about the countdown often feels so long and how do you stay motivated. And I think that's the thing, like, oftentimes you're booking like a year or so in advance, so you get that initial rush of excitement when you book, and then you're like, oh, I've got loads of days now. But what I really like is the planning is such a big part of a trip, so it's so exciting to be watching vlogs or looking up like what rides or experiences we don't want to do, where do we want to eat, do we want to do character dining. So there's so many things you can think about that keeps the excitement going. And then I think once you hit 99 days, you get into those double digits, it speeds up massively. The countdown is unbelievable how quick it starts going. So very exciting, you're almost in the double digits. Oh, Lisa, I'm so excited to hear that Hamburg's your favourite German city. Yep, oh my god, at Roundup Radio Barbecue, we have so many topics to discuss. This is going to be amazing. And I'm going to need to hear all about Hercules. I'm going to have to hear all about Hamburg. It literally is a dream. Like, I'm so excited. I love that there's such a big crossover of people's interests, because I think people think, oh, people like Disney, but there's so many other interests that people have that also coincide in Disney fandoms, which is amazing, because you're like, oh my god, we have so many things in common, which is so good. Yes, Mark! The Walt's apartment tour is incredible, and if you get out there, I would definitely do it. It is quite pricey. I think it was $160 for a 90-minute tour, which is very expensive, considering Keys to the Kingdom was about $114, and that's 5 hours and also includes lunch and things like that. But it was so special being inside Walt Disney's apartment. And you also start the tour on Main Street, and you get a really great rundown of the history and also in-depth details about the windows. One of the things I love the most about Main Street is on the windows you have all of the different names, but it relates to Imagineers or people who have worked for Disney. So it's kind of spotting, like, who can you spot and who was that? And if you're a Disney fan and you like have favourite Imagineers and stuff like that, it's lovely to kind of see their names on the windows, which is so fun. Oh, I'm so glad to hear you recommend the Starlight Safari as well. That's something I'd actually looked at doing when I was staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I didn't end up doing it, but it looks amazing. And again, I think it's one of those things that people don't realise, like, you don't have to be staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge to do the Starlight Safari. Anyone can book. You can get transport from the parks, which is perfect, and you get to go out in a little like truck, and you get night vision goggles, and you get to go and see all the animals on the savannah. And I'm so glad you've highly recommended that, because that looks so good. I've also heard, is it called the Wild Trek? There's one that you do actually inside Animal Kingdom. It's about $200, but you get to go kind of backstage, see animals, and then there's like if you've ever been on Kilimanjaro Safari, there is a bit where there's like a wobbly bridge, and if you've gone at the right time, you'll see people crossing it, and that's part of the Wild Africa Trek, and that looks like a really great tour as well. So I love these tours. Something I'd love to do, which they haven't brought back yet, but I hope they do, is the steam train tour, which I never thought I would say. Maybe it's old age is catching up with me. Now I'm a train spotter. I've become a bird spotter. That's something that's happened to me. The other day I saw a goldfinch in the garden. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, something's happened here. I've turned into a bird spotter. But a few years ago, I wrote an article all about Walt Disney and steam trains and his love of steam trains. And I found it so fascinating. I found out so much about Walt Disney as a man, but also about why the steam trains are in the parks. And Magic Kingdom used to have a steam train tour, and you got to go backstage and see where they do all the maintenance and learn about them. And I was like, I need to go on this tour now. I've now become a train spotter and I love it. And yeah, they just add such an extra level of knowledge to your trips. So the tours are amazing. Absolutely love them. Yes, Victoria, travel, Disney, cats and food is the best combo. I cannot agree more. That is the ideal combination of topics to talk about, to live, to experience. It's the best. Yes, Serena, you're 100% right. If you're doing things with people that also really love Disney, firstly, it's exciting because they get the excitement, but also they know that you need all the videos and the photographs, and they know this is going to be a good angle. This is what we should be doing. So this is why everyone needs like Disney pals that get it, so we can all have the best social media to show it off. It's amazing. Ooh. Yes, you're 100% right, Serena. Watching vlogs keeps you excited for your trips, and 100% agree, because when you're not there, getting to see other people's experience and their excitement gets you excited. And I also love getting to see like, oh, that's a new restaurant, I've never been there, or that's an experience I've not seen. And what I love is particularly the US parks seem to develop very quickly. So my last trip was in 2022, and even in 2 years there's so many things that have been added that I'm like, well, this is going to be amazing. And in such a short period of time, there's been so many new things. So yeah, you get to kind of get excited ahead of your trip by watching other people, which is the best. Oh yes, Serena. Yeah, the Wild Africa trek looks amazing, but because little Jude's only 5, he's not quite old enough yet. And that is the one downside with the tours, that they do have age limits. So if you're traveling with children, a lot of them have age limits. I know Keys to the Kingdom, you had to be 14 or over because you were going backstage. And one of the things that was amazing, but obviously a reason you can't take kids, is I specifically picked the time of tour that you would be backstage when they were preparing for the first parade of the day. It was the 9:30 tour, and you got to see Mickey without his head on and things like that. And it was amazing to see the characters like, oh, that's the person actually playing Mickey in the parade today. But that's obviously why kids cannot go on these tours, because it will kind of ruin the magic a bit. But I absolutely loved seeing these people get ready. I know, it was so fun, and they're like waving at you. It was so good. Yes, Mark, hiring the boat and going on Seven Seas Lagoon looks incredible. That's something I've always wanted to do, and I don't think it's like too bad a price. I think it's like $45 for like 30 minutes, but for up to 10 people. So that seems really reasonable. And firstly, you get to commandeer your own ship. I mean, it's a little boat. Maybe I'm getting a bit too Jack Sparrow, but the fact that you have your own boat and you're driving it, amazing. You're getting to see Magic Kingdom, all the hotels in that area. It looks amazing. So I'd love to hear what that's like, because it looks brilliant. I think it's something people should be doing. It's one of those nice little hidden things as well that I think people don't realise you can do at Disney. And love all little things like that. Yes, Lisa, can you imagine if everyone starts booking, we'll all go in September and we'll just all be on a massive group trip, and it'll be amazing. But it is funny how lots of people are going this September. It's just worked out perfectly. Oh, thank you so much for joining. It's so exciting. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Oh, sorry, Victoria, to see you going, but it's so nice to speak to you too. And yeah, thank you everyone that's joined so far. I'm still, what is the time? Oh, it's 9:30. But I'm quite happy to carry on till 10, should we say? So if there is any questions, we've still got time to answer them. Yeah, I won't just disappear like bye. But it's, if anyone does need to leave, absolutely leave, because I also know it's a Sunday night. It's back to work tomorrow. But thank you for joining us. But yeah, this is a great question. Has anyone done the Fairy Tales firework cruise? And again, that looks so nice, and it's a great unique way to experience the fireworks, because being out on a boat or Seven Seas Lagoon, you're getting to see them in the sky. It looks so nice. I know my friends Ellie and Mitchell did the normal firework dessert party in Magic Kingdom and really enjoyed it, and that was something I was looking to do, because every time I go to Disney World, I never ever end up seeing the fireworks, because the wall of children always happens, and I'm only 5'3". I don't have a hope in seeing anything. And I did the World of Colour dessert party in Disneyland, which is going to be coming up in a future vlog. And what I'm also going to do is put up the entire show as its own separate video, and you can get to watch all of that if you fancy it. But I loved that dessert party. It was so good. You had an excellent view. It was nice that you had a seat and you could actually sit down and rest your feet at the end of the day. And the desserts were really good as well. So very much looking forward to dessert parties. But Fairy Tales looks amazing. And what a great idea. Like, love that. Yes, Mark, you have to be Jack Sparrow. You are commandeering a ship. It's perfect. Yes, you're so right that September is a great time to visit Disney World, and I absolutely love all the Halloween stuff. So the fact that it's in full flow is excellent. And like you say, the weather nice and hot, maybe a bit too hot at times, but the thing that I love is that they're so catered for. So like the queues, you've got the air conditioning, everywhere you've got air conditioning, so you're like, you can dip in and out of the heat. If it's getting too much, you can go take a rest somewhere in nice air conditioning, which is perfect. Yes! Oh my god, everyone, we do need to plan a group trip. This would be amazing. Can you imagine a little trip together? It'd be so fun. And yes, you're so right, Randy. I do think they do need to stop putting kids on shoulders, just because not only is it a massive inconvenience to everyone around them, but I have seen fist fights, actual punch-ups happen in Disney because of it. And it's such a simple, like, even if you have kids like on a piggyback, so their head's the same height as yours, so they're still being able to see, but then they're obviously not massively blocking everyone else because it's kind of the same height as you are. I think that would be a good solution. Or what they do in Japan, everyone sit on the floor. I don't know why we haven't done that, because firstly, standing on the spot for like an hour to wait for the fireworks just hurts your feet in general, particularly after a long day of walking. Sitting on the floor, perfect. Stops all of the problems. Everyone can see everything. Let's start doing that. But I think they do need to kind of start having a notice to say don't do that, because it's causing so many problems. And I'm like, it's no fun. Yes, Lisa, Mickey's Not So Scary is incredible. I love that Halloween starts in August in Disney World. I think it's hilarious. But I loved Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. You're so right, the queues are much shorter, so you get so much fitted in. And the time goes so fast though, because I was like doing all the rides, you've got the overlays, the live pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean is incredible. Then you have the parade, you have the fireworks, you have the Hocus Pocus show. There's so much going on. And something else that I really love is seeing everyone dressed up. And in England, we're taking Halloween more seriously now, but when you go to Disney World, obviously America, Halloween's huge. When I tell you, people are walking around in like Broadway level costumes. It's unreal. It's incredible. And it's so fun to see. And I love seeing like groups that all go from like the same film. So it's like a theme. Absolutely. I saw a woman once and I was like, the level of extra was amazing. She'd come as Ursula. She looked incredible. But she had a friend with her. They weren't allowed to be their own person. They were in all black lycra, and then on their arms they were the urchins, and they were behind her being the little urchins. And I was like, I love that she said to her friend, "You're not allowed to have a personality. You are a prop. You are here to make me look even better." But it looked amazing. It was so good. So I love seeing everyone dressed up as well. And what's actually an interesting thing that I find is a lot of people, if they're going to Magic Kingdom, they will avoid visiting Magic Kingdom on party nights because it shuts at 6 p.m. Actually, that's a brilliant day to visit because so many people skip it. It's quieter in the daytime, so you get more done. And particularly if you have park hopper tickets, I would specifically say visit Magic Kingdom on party nights and then park hop, because you'll get so much done in those days because people are avoiding it because they're like, especially if you're from the US and you're only visiting Disney World for maybe 4 days, you want to be able to be in Magic Kingdom for as long as possible. So of course you're going to skip, but if you have the ability to go, definitely do it because you get so much more done those days. Randy was going to go in September anyway. I love that everyone's going in September. We're definitely having some meet up. We have to do this. We're making it happen. We're all there for a reason. It's happened. It's all fallen into place that we happen to all be there at the same time. So it's perfect. And yes, Randy, you're so right. Kids on shoulders is not allowed in Japan. And in fact, everyone sits on the floor. No one's allowed to stand up. No one's allowed to block anyone's view. And I think it's wonderful. And of course, in Japan, it's such a brilliant culture of politeness. And I have been to Japan before, but not to Disney. Ridiculous. Why didn't I go? That was silly. But we were only there for a couple of days, and I wanted the full experience. So we skipped over it for this time. But the people could not have been more courteous, more polite, like a literally incredible culture. So I think it makes sense where everyone's sitting down, and I think it's the same with kind of parades, like everywhere. They're like, let's make sure everyone's got a good view and everyone's having a good time, which I think is wonderful. So if we could bring that over here, that would be perfect. And yes, it's so interesting, Serena, to hear like you've got 3 boys and you've never done the shoulder thing. And it's that thing, isn't it? And it's so difficult because you obviously want kids to be able to see. But I think that's where sitting on the floor would work, or piggybacks or something like that, so that they're still getting that experience, because you don't want them to miss out. But it's just causing so much. And like I said, I've seen literal fist fights and like cast members having to like intervene, and it's been like really frightening for people around. And like, you never think you can see a fist fight in Disney, and you're like, this is not the Oh, Mark, you did fairy tales on your honeymoon. Also, what an incredible place to go for honeymoon. An amazing destination. And yeah, a really nice special occasion to see the fireworks on the lagoon. But yeah, it's so right. It's one of those experiences that it's not like you must do it, but if you're looking for something interesting, something unique, it's a really, really good option, which is so nice. But what a great place to have a honeymoon. I love that. Yes, David. So during Halloween, not Halloween Horror Nights, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, they have actors who are pirates inside Pirates of the Caribbean. So sometimes you will find them in the queue and they'll like fright you and have a little conversation with you. And then in the ride itself, they also have pirates. So when you are going through the ride and you have kind of like the bartering going on, you've got the lady in red and stuff. On the bridge over the top, they had 2 live pirates and they would talk to people in the boat, and it's amazing. It like totally adds to the experience. I know when I went to Disneyland Paris in September, we went to the annual pass party, which was Halloween themed, and they also had live live pirates in the queue jumping out at you, and it was terrifying because I did not know that was something that was going to happen. Whereas at Disney World, you know in advance there's going to be live pirates. I screamed. Let me tell you how much I screamed. But it was so fun. So yeah, that's definitely worth doing. And they also have overlays on stuff like Space Mountain, so they'll have fun lights. I know that the teacups have like fun party lights, so they've got a few extra overlays as well, which is so good. Oh no! I'm so sorry to hear you didn't have the pirates, Serena. That's outrageous because that's a big part of the party. They should have had them. It's so sad. Mark, you're so right. A great time to visit Disney is when they're doing the crossover from Halloween to Christmas. And I've done that once before at Disneyland Paris, and it was amazing. But like you say, all of the parks kind of do it. So if you happen to be there when they're doing the transition from one to the other, you get to experience both things, which is fantastic. And yeah, they're both amazing times of year to visit. So if you can do them both in one trip, what a dream. It's the best. So yes, Gareth, this is something I've heard a lot of other people talk about, that as a solo traveller, people kind of push past you in the queues in Florida and Paris. And I've been lucky that I haven't experienced it too much, but it does seem to be this thing that people think, oh, but you're not as important possibly. Like I said, I've not personally experienced, but this is something I see come up quite a lot on like Disney groups of people saying like people were just like completely ignoring your existence, which is so difficult. But I think I don't know if maybe I just make myself a bit of a nuisance and I'm kind of like stood in the middle like so they can't kind of get past me, so maybe that's what's happened. But yeah, it's just one of those things, and like you don't want to always say to people like, excuse me, like I'm queuing, because you never know in this day and age how people are going to react. But it's definitely not fair for people to be pushing in front. And I know that there is issues with kind of one person getting in the queue and then other people joining later, and that becomes quite tiresome when you experience it a few times in a queue. And yeah, I don't know. Disney do have rules about these things, but can they be enforced? Because if you're in the queue, that there aren't cast members necessarily right near you, so it's so difficult to know what to do. But yeah, I just kind of, I think I'm just standing there like looking at my phone, and I've made myself like just taking up all the space. So maybe that's the way forward. Just be an inconvenient person. Yes, I absolutely think I did vlog the scream, because I was just like, oh, we're walking in, and then there was a bit where there's like I was gonna say a cage. It's not really a cage. It's like a metal fence, and it's like dark behind it, and there's never normally anything in there. But you can't see. It's not very deep, but you couldn't see anything. And then all of a sudden, like the doors flew open, and he walked out, and I was terrified. I was not prepared. Yes, David, you're so right. So many people have said Space Mountain is too rickety for them now. And I've heard a lot of people that say the older they get, the more it makes them feel motion sick. So because I already get motion sick, it's one of the rides that I skip over doing. And I always think, should I give it a try to see how it actually makes me feel or not? But I do know that dark coasters are a trigger for me. So that is something I have skipped over. But when I was in Disneyland, I absolutely loved Matterhorn. And that is really rickety. So I feel like Space Mountain I'd probably enjoy, but it's just, will it make me feel sick? But I know a lot of people have said it kind of is quite rough to ride. So people have started kind of skipping it. Oh, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us. And it's very exciting that you're going to Disneyland Paris. So I hope you have an amazing time and get to use the tips. So, Serena, yes. So the pirates are supposed to be part of the Halloween party the whole time. So it should be, once it's switched into party mode, they should be there. Even in August, it should be the full experience. I'm so sorry that they weren't there when you were out there, because it's just like, that's what people have come to. You've promoted this. Why aren't you here? But Lisa, yes, you're 100% right. The 14-day ticket includes miniature golf. And I've been to Winter Summerland, and I absolutely loved it. So when you go to, there's actually two. There's Winter Summerland and Fantasia Gardens. Fantasia Gardens was being renovated, so I didn't get to go to that. But Winter Summerland has two different courses. So it has winter and summer, and we did the winter course, and I really enjoyed it. It was really, really fun. And it's such a perfect rest day activity because you're still getting the Disney experience, but it's kind of relaxed. And it's just super, super fun. So I would definitely say, if you have time to do it, it's definitely worth going to. And I'd love to go to Fantasia Gardens to see what that one's like. And also to try Summerland, because I haven't done summer. I've only done winter. So that would be so fun. But they're definitely worth doing. And I think that's, again, something that they don't really promote this included in your ticket. And it's like, yep, we can all go and do miniature golf, which is amazing. Yes, it's so interesting to hear, Randy, that sometimes perhaps it's right, people are in a hurry and get annoyed if people are kind of being a bit slow. And I think that's true. I think it's easy to forget that, you know, if you're visiting from Europe, people are tending to do 8 days, 10 days, 14 days. So we have a lot longer to experience the parks and stuff. Whereas a lot of Americans are only there for a few days. So they want to pack as much in as possible. So I think it's easy sometimes to forget that some people, this might be their one day in Magic Kingdom, so they're needing to kind of get everywhere speedy and get everything in. Yes, David, you're so right. Hyperspace Mountain in Disneyland Paris, I think, is the best Space Mountain in the world. The launch is incredible, like such an amazing ride. And again, it's one I absolutely loved. I used to go on it over and over again, and now I'm pretty sure I would make me so ill. So I've had to stop going on it, which is such a shame. But yeah, I'm hoping. I keep thinking, should I try? Will I be okay? Because it is such an incredible ride. I absolutely love it. Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Mark. And a 4 a.m. start is wild. So I hope you get to have a lovely sleep. So thank you for staying this long. And yeah, that's 100% right. that's the way to think about working, is actually creating Disney dollars. That is the way forward. And yes, I'm hoping to do lives each month now and kind of try and theme them around a different topic. I haven't really answered many of these questions, so I do apologise. But it's just been really, really fun doing the interaction and getting the live questions and just talking about a bit of everything. So I absolutely love doing the lives. So I think we should definitely make it a monthly thing. Should I try and do some of these questions? They're actually quite helpful, and they cover kind of topics that I think a lot of people struggle with. So we kind of did touch upon ADRs, and again, I think if you have any thought about doing a restaurant, book at the 60-day mark, and then you can cancel it or modify it later, but always book that if there's a slight chance you think you're going to go, because otherwise it's going to be much harder to get it closer to the time. And like I say, if you change your mind, you could just cancel it. It's not a problem. And but you can get last minute reservations. So if you're somewhere like Disneyland in California, they had quite a lot of walk-ups. Disney World do also do walk-ups. You might have to wait a while, but they are available. Disneyland Paris, not as much. It's hard to get walk-ups. So I would say if there are restaurants you really want to go to, try and book. And if you are staying at Disneyland Paris Hotel, you can book a year in advance, which is fantastic. And you have like the range of all of the different restaurants to choose from then. Some of the other questions were about being a solo traveller and single supplement. And I do think that's the one downside to travelling as a solo traveller, because most of the costs are the same. So like your flight's going to cost you the same, transportation, stuff like that. But the hotel is the one area where you do end up paying a bit more. So as I say, in the US parks, you pay for a room. So if you're one person, you take on the full cost. So it works out very expensive. Disneyland Paris is slightly different. So what they do is they do a single supplement. So you pay slightly more than if you were going with other people, but it's not like double the cost or something like that. So Disneyland Paris can be a bit more affordable as solo travellers. But the good thing, if you go to Disneyland Paris or Disneyland and you want to stay off-site, you're still very close to the Disney parks. Whereas Disney World, you are close, but you do have to travel because just the size of Disney World. And I think safety-wise, because the other two are so close to the parks, it's quite easy. In Orlando, if you're solo and you're a bit concerned about safety, I would say stay on site if that's an option. But someone also asked the best place to stay for one night close to Disney. I'm assuming this is Disneyland Paris. And this is something I've actually done before, where my flight has landed in like the early evening, and because I'm not going to go to Disney that day, I didn't want to pay to stay in a Disneyland Paris hotel, because of course part of your cost is your park ticket that is included on your room rate. So instead I've stayed at a different hotel and then first thing in the morning switched to a Disney hotel and gone straight in the parks. And I would really, really highly recommend the B&B hotel. So there's a row of hotels near Disney that all have free shuttles to the parks, and you've got like Explorers, Dream Castle, Campanile. You've got like a few different hotels, and B&B is one of them. It's typically the cheapest one. The rooms I found really, really comfortable. My room, I paid £50 and it had a double bed, a bunk bed and a single bed, so it could have fitted 5 people in that room for £50, which was unbelievable. It was really great. Like I said, they've got a free shuttle to the parks. So I would absolutely recommend that. I've also stayed at Campanile Val de France, which is on that strip as well. Again, really good room rate. A lot of people also stay in Val d'Europe, which is one train stop away from Disneyland Paris. So it's just a few minutes on a train. And there's loads of hotels in that area. So there's quite a few places, but if you're wanting to be the closest, then that strip of 5 hotels where you've got Campanile, B&B, no, it's not Grand Legacy, that I've made that up, that's in Disneyland. You've got Magic Castle, or is it Dream Castle? They've changed the name. But there's 5 hotels basically. If you look up Campanile and B&B, you'll find the other 3, and they're super affordable, and they're great even if you don't want to stay on site. They're really great options. I'm trying to rush through these, so I feel really bad for not having answered these. But we've had some good questions about how to book trips. And is it better to do package deals? Is it better to do it DIY? And I would say it depends on what you're looking for. So package deals can be great if you just want to book everything with one person, only deal with one company, and that's that. It's not always the cheapest option. So if you don't mind booking things independently, really the only things you have to book are your flight, your hotel, and your tickets. The way I tend to do it is if I'm going to Disney World, I'll book a hotel and ticket package with Disney to get the offer, such as the free Disney dining, and then just pay for my flight separately. And then that's super easy. If I go to Disneyland Paris, I tend to book directly with Disney for their rooms and the tickets, and then just book a flight. And then when I went to Disneyland, it was the same. I used Expedia for the hotel and stayed off-site, and I used Skyscanner to find my flights. So it can be cheaper to do it DIY because you can look for the best deals and find the best combination. But if you're looking for simplicity, sometimes packages can be good. You can go through Disney themselves. Of course, you have people like Virgin and TUI. They tend to be a bit more pricey. So I like independent travel agents like Charter Travel. I've used them a few times. They've always been really good. But what I would say is I tend to look up how much a Virgin or TUI going to charge, how much will Charter charge for the same trip, and how much, if I booked it all myself, would it cost. And it might take you maybe 30 minutes extra to compare all three, but then you know you're getting the best deal and what suits you. So yeah, if you're happy to take a little bit of time, that can be a really, really good option. Oh yeah, I'm loving all this discussion about Space Mountain because all of the Space Mountains feel very different. They all feel like very different rides, but I love that because like I said, something I really like about the Disney parks is the familiarity but also uniqueness, and they've really got that well because you can go on Space Mountain and it's familiar but it's 3 separate different rides, which is amazing. Oh my gosh, Hong Kong, their Space Mountain sounds incredible. That literally sounds amazing. But yeah, I would love to go to all of the Asian parks. I am desperate to visit. They look incredible. They look so good. I'm going to rattle through some of these answers because I feel so bad for having not done them yet. But let's see which ones. We've done some of we've covered some of these. This is good. We just, as people, naturally knew. We knew the hurdles people needed to overcome. But yeah, one of the topics we briefly touched on was the weather and how to pack for it. And I think this is such a difficult thing because it's so variable. But what I kind of do is kind of like what I call a Swiss Army pack, which is have a little bit of everything. So even if I'm going, like if I'm going to any of the Disney parks, I will always take some sort of rain jacket or poncho just in case. I'll also take sunglasses and sun cream just in case, because you never quite know. Sometimes you can go and one day it'll be boiling hot and the next day it's raining. And I've found oftentimes weather reports aren't super helpful. Like every time I go to Disneyland Paris, whatever they say the weather is going to be, it never is that. And I always take layers with me as well, because I can't bear being cold and I also can't bear being hot. So I find layers are perfect because it gives you the ultimate control over your temperature. And something that was interesting about Disneyland is I was visiting in November, and you know, California weather's nice kind of all year round. I was like, should I take some layers? And I took more layers than I needed, but I was glad I did take layers because I had been told you'll need more layers than you anticipate. And I think that is a good rule of thumb, that especially with Disneyland Paris, you'll need more layers than you anticipate, because even if in the daytime it's really nice, once you get to like the evenings and you're waiting for the fireworks and you're stood on the spot, you start to feel the temperature. So definitely take some layers. And even in Disney World, depending on what time of year you're visiting, my friends Ellie and Mitchell went in November, early December last year, and we were actually in America at the same time, but just on different coasts. And I had like 26-degree weather. It was beautiful. They were in Orlando and it was like 14 degrees and they were freezing. I had to go to the outlet mall and get more clothes. And yeah, so definitely I hate to overpack, but then I also hate to be underprepared. So if you can just throw like one extra layer in your case and like a poncho, so you're covered for all occasions, I think that's the best way forward. And like I say, just kind of keep an eye on the weather apps, but they're not always that accurate, which is such a shame because, you know, we'd like to all know what we're getting into. Let's see what other questions we have. I think we covered most of the questions because a lot of the questions were they were along similar topics. Like I said, the big ones seem to be dining, booking the trips, like the best places to stay, and like the weather. But something I think also is so vital is rest days. And I bang on about this so much, but any length of trip to Disney is really tiring because you're fitting so much in. And it can be so draining on the body that by the end of the trip, you're just like trudging through, not really enjoying it so much because you're lacking energy, your body's sore. But I have started doing breaks in the day, and I had to do this because of my foot. And it has revolutionised the way I visit Disney. And now I couldn't imagine visiting any other way. And the great thing about it is I've started to, after lunch, I'll go back to the hotel for a couple of hours. And what's great about this is after lunch till the early evening is the busiest part of the days in the parks, and it's also when it's the hottest. If you're back at your hotel room, you're skipping all of that. But in the mornings, you get loads done because a lot of people are on holiday, they sleep in, so they're not kind of going out first thing. But if you are, you're getting so much in that morning. Resting in the afternoon, you can go swimming, have a little nap, do whatever you fancy, and then going back in the evenings, you're so much more re-energized and invigorated. And then the evenings when it quietens down, and then also you get the shows, all of those amazing things, and it's the best. Like beforehand, I find most people are either a rope drop or a park close person. They're either up the crack of dawn, but they very rarely see park close, or they're going to the parks later in the day and staying till park close. People that do rope drop to park close are legends. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how they're surviving. It's so hard to stay for that long. But I honestly think having that break, your body thanks you for it, your feet thank you for it, and then you just enjoy your trip so much more because you're not as tired, you're not hurting, and just the experience is so much better. So I am such a big fan of taking breaks, and I'm so glad I've started doing it, and it's totally revolutionised my trips. Like I love it now. It's so good. Oh, let's have a little look. Yes, you're so right, Serena. It's hard to know what to pack for California in August because I think you're 100% right. It will still be very warm, but you won't have the humidity of Florida. And I think the good thing is you won't have the thunderstorms of Florida either. So in that way, it can be easier to pack because it's just generally nice weather. If you're going in the summer, it's just like perfect temperature. I've been to California in May before, and again, really beautiful weather like the whole time, just perfect. It wasn't too hot, wasn't cold, no rain. It was like idyllic. So I think you're gonna have the best time. Oh, David, that's amazing. In 2018, 6 adults, 2 weeks, Disney World offsite for under £10,000, including flights, car hire, villa, and park tickets. That's incredible. And it really points out the difference. Like when the parks have reopened post-COVID, the pricing has increased significantly. And I think because everything across the world's going up, you kind of get used to, yeah, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. And then you look at that and you go, oh yeah, that's gone up a lot. It's very different. That's an incredible deal. And yes, David, so one time when I went to Disney World, I did use the DAS pass. So I have plantar fasciitis and I tend to maintain it. So I have physiotherapy every month. I also have shockwave treatment. I've had laser treatment. I have specialist shoes and like insoles, stuff like that. And I do exercises to try and maintain it. Before my Disney World trip last time, 3 weeks before, I had a big flare up. And I was like, oh no, this is the worst time for this to happen. So someone suggested to me, actually, have you spoken to the people at DAS to see what would be the best route for you? And that was not something that had ever crossed my mind. So I did the online interview and they said that I would be eligible. So I used it for that one trip. I've never used it at Disneyland Paris or Disneyland. Disneyland, I did use Genie Plus. So for me, that was perfect because where I have a foot issue, being able to queue and not stand on that foot for so long was perfect. So Genie Plus was a great solution for that. But oh, the other cat's turned up now. Jaffa, do you want to say hello? Say hi, yeah. This is Jaffa. Hello, little man. Aren't you cute? Here he is. But yeah, DAS, I would say if you do have any sort of conditions that make it difficult to be in queues, the cast members are super knowledgeable, super helpful. So speaking to the DAS team can be really great and they can kind of advise what would be best for you. And I thought the system worked really well in the US because you could book on your the app, so you don't have to like walk over to a ride, get a return time, and then, you know, you're just like wandering over all across the parks trying to get different DAS reservation slots. You can do it on your mobile, so it's much more convenient, and it made such a difference of being able to sit down in a virtual queue, if that makes sense. So you get your place in your virtual queue, say it's an hour-long queue, you get an hour return time, and I could sit and rest my foot and then join the lightning lane. So of course you still have a bit of a queue, but it made such a difference. It made it so much easier. And I combined it with Genie Plus at Disney World, and it was brilliant because I primarily used Genie Plus, and then the rides that weren't included in Genie Plus is when I would use DAS. But yeah, it's definitely, if there are any conditions, definitely speak to the DAS team. They're super, super helpful, super knowledgeable, and yeah, it makes such a difference. And I think it's great that Disney want everyone to have a good time, so they're super inclusive. And how do we make this? I think it's a great fair system because it's not like people are skipping the queue. It's just they've got a virtual place in the queue instead. So I think it's really brilliant system. Oh my god, Serena is hardcore. She's rope dropping till park close. Yeah, it's so long. And that's what I actually thought was very interesting about California as well, is their park opening hours are so long. When I was there, Disneyland was open 8 a.m. till midnight, and California Adventure was 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. So their parks are open so long, which is amazing. But again, that's another reason why it's good to have this little afternoon break, because you've got so many hours in the park that you can kind of relax and have a little few hours, like take a dip, have a little sunbathe, have a nap, which is great. But yes, David, I hope you have an amazing time. And I can't believe how quickly the time has gone. It's gone so quickly. Thank you all for joining me. And like, such incredible questions. And I love that we all get to share information and tips and advice of things we've done. And it's so helpful because I always find, for me, the way I learn the best about things is by personal experience. Like, it's all good and well, like reading, you know, like official advice. But when you hear... the cat was like, oh, she's put her hand up. She's clearly here to smooth me. But hearing actual real people's reviews, and this is what worked and this is what I didn't like so much, I think makes such a difference. So thank you all for sharing. It has been amazing. And yes, I can't wait to do this again. I'm very excited that we're all going to be in Disney in September. This has been perfect. We definitely have to do a meetup. We will have to do a UK meetup, so I will start looking into planning that. And yeah, next month we're going to have another live stream. If there's a topic you'd like it to be focused around, let me know, because I think that's kind of quite nice to have like a little theme. And it could be anything. It could be dining, it could be Epcot, it could be characters, whatever we fancy talking about, we can make it. And of course you can ask any questions you like. We still have the Disneyland vlog series going on every Wednesday. Later in the year we're going to be having another Disneyland Paris vlog series with Peter, which is great. And obviously planning videos are going to be coming back. So between the trip vlogs, I tend to do planning videos once a week. So if there's any topics you would like to know, let me know. I'm obviously going to start doing some Disneyland planning videos as well to help people plan their Disneyland trips. And yeah, this year's going to be very exciting because I've just released the planning templates, so they have gone live. There's still more planning templates to come. We're going to be launching the consultations that we were talking about with Guy earlier. And I'm also planning to do some masterclasses. So it'll be a 3-hour online kind of masterclass on Zoom where you can learn how to plan your ultimate trips to Disneyland, Disneyland Paris and Disney World, which I'm so excited for. So yeah, there's so much more to come, but thank you so much for joining me. It's been the best evening. I hope you have a lovely week going forward. I heard from Tigger, he said ta-ta for now, TTFN, and I was like, why isn't everyone saying that? I'm obsessed with that. So I think we need to bring that in. But thank you all for joining me. And yes, Lisa, see you in September in person, and then I'll see you at the next live. And it was so lovely to chat to you too, Serena. So have a good evening. This is the really awkward part that we all have to ignore, where I don't know how to end the live stream. So it's really awkward of me trying to like poke at things. So we just have to ignore that that's happening. TTFN, we're going to make that a thing. It's perfect. See you all soon. Bye bye. Okay, we're just going to ignore. I think guys. I think it's this one.